Well, look, the Obama campaign spied on our campaign, and they've been caught. All right, and now let's see what happens to them. But they have been caught. They've been caught red-handed. It's probably treason. It's a horrible thing they did. It probably never happened before. At least nobody got caught doing it. But they used the intelligence agencies of our country to spy on my campaign, and they have been caught. And there are a lot of people involved. I don't want to say how much she's involved. Frankly, if he chooses her, that's fine, but that's a potential liability. We'll see. But President Obama knew about it. Joe Biden knew about it. Comey knew about it. Brennan, Clapper, the whole group, they all knew about it. Lisa Page, her lover Strzok, they all knew about it. And we have it documented. We have it in texts. We have it in all sorts of forms. They knew about it. It was a terrible thing. Should have never happened and should never be allowed to happen again to a president. This should never happen again. This was a setup like we've never seen. I think it's the political crime of the century. And they've been caught. So let's see what happens to them all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Keep America great.
Come on, America, time to get on board. Come on, America, time to get on board. Trump is taking back our country. I say praise the Lord. He's draining the swamp in Washington, D.C., restoring freedom to you and me.
Trump train!
Can you hear the whistle sound?
Trump train!
We're boots on the ground.
Trump train!
Don't you feel the engines roar?
Trump train!
Kick social the door. He brought back jobs. They said it couldn't be done. He's making deals to keep us number one. Trump has heard your urgent call, keeping his promise to build a wall.
And we will live by the words of our national motto, in God we trust.
Thank God it's Friday.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
Oh, we made it through another week, folks. Another very important week. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio, the Cold War Radio patron hotline, 412-206-6208. The voicemail line, if you would like to contact the show and you listen via podcast, is 412-567-1460. Please go to steelcityresistance.com where you can become a Cold War Radio patron. You can catch the research room there, tons of material, including the memo from Wednesday. And check the Video 2 page to check out the videos of most of the audio clips that we play on the radio. If you'd like to write to the program, please write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433, 370 Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15234. Well, it sure looks like Pennsylvania has thrown in to try to steal the election, and Michigan has just thrown in. Well, I just wonder when Virginia is going to get on board. Let's welcome Jack to the show. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Hutch. Yeah, that's it's troubling, because even though one of the worst things that I appreciated for election night was watching the television and they project certain winners, especially when the voting's still going on in the central U.S. and the West, and they're already calling, all of these states, and kind of like, how many folks is that are out there that tune in and say, wait a minute, so and so's going to win, so I'm going to eat my pizza. So,
I think if I lived out there, I think I would execute some self-discipline and not watch anything. I would have to,
because it's important. We've seen how important it is for the last 4 years. But 3 days in Pennsylvania, and what you said, a couple weeks in Michigan.
14 days.
2 weeks.
I don't know if they're gonna like not put in the votes that they already have, not submit anything. I'm not sure how it's going to work. It's definitely election stealing things, though. I mean, this is something that, my God, we have to get to the polls in person so that the totals at the time, at the end of the voting day on November 3rd, make it impossible for a mail-in ballot to change anything. That's what we have to do.
Right.
That's our only hope. Well, not our own.
Minnesota, remember Minnesota, Norm Coleman versus
lots of
the
them.
actor.
Virginia all the time, too. His father was on CNN. What's his name? I can't even, now he's out of the picture. I don't even remember his name anymore. He wasn't even a very good comedian.
No, he
was on Saturday Night Live.
Gorilla, right? The gorilla, one of them. I forgot his name.
I did too. I mean, that's good though. I mean, he was insignificant.
That's how he got in, right?
Yeah.
Coleman was winning. They named it for him, and then all of a
300 votes at a time. 300 votes at a time. There'd be this many in this car trunk and in this thing over here. It was so predictable.
Some guy fly fishing up in the northern lakes in Minnesota accidentally caught a satchel with just enough votes for whoever that guy was to win and take Norm Coleman out. So.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then he got thrown out. He was like the first guy in the cancel culture that got thrown out.
The Me Too,
or
right? The Me Too, and he got tossed.
Yep, he sure did. He was a bore anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't, that's him. Al Franken. His dad's on CNN. But if you didn't catch Wednesday's show, I would suggest that you do that. We had a really good guy on, Rich Higgins, that penned the memo that pretty much broke open the whole military-industrial complex coup. And it was a very interesting interview.
Yeah, I listened to it, and to me, I even posted in there. It like recharges my batteries. It gives me hope that there's still people within that swamp apparatus that are still American and still patriotic to this country. They're still there. They may be few, but they are still there. So that's always hopeful for.
I think a lot of them. I think there's a lot of them there, but I think they're afraid. I mean, they're looking at it as their livelihood.
Well, if you've got every aspect or every avenue that these folks that want to, like, whistleblow, if you've got every avenue covered by swamp people, then they're like, well,
look
no
at
matter
what
which way I go, I'm going to be
right.
gone, right?
You look at what happened to the guy right at the beginning of the Obama administration. If you remember the poll place intimidation by the new Black Panther Party in Philadelphia. And the guy came out, gave it all to Holder, and got, like, demoted, and then he finally quit because the Civil Rights Division was only against whites, for lack of a better word.
Right. They played it off like, well, it was just one precinct and just somebody just happened to be able to photo them. But, to sit there and blow this up and criminalize it. I was like, wait, that is against the law.
Indeed.
That's what you do. You prosecute them.
And he had the
when
case.
Holder came in and said, Holder said, I'm not doing that.
Right. He basically had the case in the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice in D.C. and had it ready to go, and he just got fired. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah,
and it was
that's how you stop that. The first time you see that sprout up, you come down hard. They'll be penalized. They're not going to go to jail for life or something like that, but there's going to be a penalty to be paid.
7 years.
And that prevents it from escalating the next time.
It really tells you all you need to know about what's going on now, because that's when it started. It started with that case. That case is what started it all. Because I remember Glenn Beck was still around then, and it was they showed this guy in all kind of different videos talking about killing white babies, and it was horrible. And it was condoned by the White House, and the Department of Justice. It's really, I remember lamenting, back to the other subject, lamenting at the beginning of these things with the FBI, and I remember thinking, there's got to be agents in there that know this is wrong and that they're patriotic, and I just waited and waited and waited. None of them ever came out. And so you're right. It is a refreshing thing to see somebody who does.
Because you're talking about, you're 33 plus years serving the country. I served the country for a number of years too. And you're in there. You're thinking that the folks that are within these positions of power or agencies of power are doing it the same way that you're serving your country for the people of the country, not in there to try to overthrow or undermine the best that this country has to offer. And that's what these folks are doing.
I know it is. It's terrible. And the younger generation that's coming up behind us rather, and even behind our kids, in some cases, especially the young women. It's brutal how quickly they will take away your liberties. We have to stop this or we're in trouble, man. Physically in trouble when we get a little bit older. This is
a lot of the younger generation are willfully giving up their liberties for what they perceive as safety. The government's going to take care of me.
Or taking other people's liberties away, like banding together and saying that a professor ought to be fired because he's a Trump supporter, or because of this or because of that. Ronald Reagan did a good piece on that. When do we ever let these kids be in charge of anything? They're students. Kick them out, whatever.
Here you see some, what was it? One of the states wants to allow 16-year-olds to vote?
California, yeah, it's ridiculous. But we ought to make it 30. The way we got now, these kids they're not informed. They're informed, but it's with propaganda. And it's almost, I'm listening to the president at the first White House American History event, and he's laying it right out. That guy knows it all. He's laying it right out about the schools, about how you cannot allow schools to teach your children to hate themselves and hate their country and their government.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's bad, and it's affecting kids too. There's a lot of them. You look at these little dumbasses, and they think they know everything, and they have a built-in response when you try to help them, and that's, you're just too old. You don't know what you're talking about. It's almost
my
verbatim.
Guidance counselor told me you were going to say something like this.
Exactly. And they're lazy. They use the same verbiage. You know, it's easy to spot. It's sad,
It's
though, and they believe it.
It's a repeatable. You see, that it's almost like cheers going on, like chants.
Oh, jeez.
And you see them repeat it, and
That's right,
they
man.
feel like they're a part of something. If a bunch of people say it and they're very loud doing it, they say, "Hey, I'm in the right crowd."
Plus, a lot of them are pussies, so they don't want to, they don't want to be outsiders. They don't want to go against the grain or anything silly like that. You came to me with some news right before the show. Some really big news.
It's something I think most folks, left, right, down the center, whoever, would think that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg would have succumbed to her battles, with cancer. That
she had it about 6 times.
You talk about a fighter. I mean, she fought for years and years, and even though I know that most of the folks here on Cold War Radio don't really follow her decisions via the Supreme Court and the way she operated that way. She's still a member of the court. I mean, just one of 9 and one of the earliest females on the bench. And, I guess it just showed up that she passed, 87 years old, and right as we were prepping for the show. So for me, I just want to, throw a shout out to their family and friends and just condolences, and we can deal with what needs to go on after it, after today.
And we had, I'll say rest in peace too. She did a lot of damage to this country, but we'll talk about that another night. Give them some respect that they would never give us. But yeah, she really did fight. I mean, she had cancer like 5 times. I mean, she had it a lot.
Pancreatic too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's usually boom. That's like automatic,
I mean, it was time for her to at least retire, though. I mean, she was falling asleep and everything,
But that was the fighter in her. She's like, she probably knew that, hey, she could have stepped down probably 2-3 years ago, but she said, "Nah."
She could have stepped down 20 years
I
ago.
ain't stepping nowhere.
I know. She was. Yeah, you're right about that. Now, in all fairness, let's call her what she is. She was the solicitor for the ACLU when she was hired as a Supreme Court justice, like the most liberal organization you could find, and she made her stamp on America, man. She certainly did. But again, we'll cover that another night. I want to talk about a little bit. I watched something right before the show. These are these news people. And I know not all of them, but I'm talking about Fox News now tonight. Are they just dumb? Or I'm watching Martha McCallum, and Trump and Biden are both, I guess, having events in Minnesota. And she said, she's talking this and that about how it was blue and red and whatever. And then she said, but Minnesota is the center, it's the hub. And in the background, it shows a burning Minneapolis. Right. And she said, the struggle against police brutality.
What?
And I'm like, Martha, what? What did you just say? That's what that is? A struggle against police brutality? That is a foreign invasion of the United States of America. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, Black Lives Matter has a bunch of affiliate groups that handle its money. And I can't remember the name of this group. I should have been prepared for this, but this was just going to be an offhand comment, really.
But how their fundraising money goes to Act Blue?
That's one of them, but there's another one that is sponsored by the Chinese Communist Party. These people, this is something that is international in scope. If you look at the way Venezuela was taken down into anarchy, which they're in right now, the exact same things that are happening in this country happened there. Mm-hmm. They knocked the statues down. They defunded and then disbarred the police. They renamed streets. It's the same thing that's happening here. Most of the people in Black Lives Matter aren't even black. I don't know about most. I don't know about most.
It's part of the George Soros's color revolution.
Exactly.
Ukraine comes to mind. They tried it in Russia. they tried it, and Putin kicked them the hell out of there.
Belarus.
But yeah, I think the color in the United States, all you have to do is look. If you remember, the Hillary Clinton concession speech didn't happen the night of the election. It happened the day after, and she and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, were both sporting the color of the color revolution that's supposed to be going on to take over this country, purple. And go take a look at a photo of that. They're both have the accent of purple.
Look at what she wore in the Benghazi hearings. She wore Islamic green. You know, now, I mean, I don't know that these things mean anything really, but I do know that the Clintons are the enemy of the state, and they want a great, giant, worldwide economic reset. And when you have Fox News muzzling Newt Gingrich about George Soros, you know, we're going to cover this next week. I'm going to talk to Ward, and I want to talk more about George Soros funding these district attorney and attorney general
races. That was the telling moment on that show, wasn't it?
That's a big deal right there. And the reason is, and the reason Fox News muzzled Newt Gingrich was because in the coming weeks, those are the people that are going to be committing the crimes. Is going to be the attorneys general of these leftist states that are trying to break this country up, and we need to be ready for that. We need to be ready on all levels because we're not going to avoid this fight. They're criminals. They've admitted it. I was talking to my wife tonight at dinner. Had some great lamb, too. But I'm talking to her about, you know, what are we going to do? Can the federal government even do anything about this malfeasance?
You see them floating out the cover story again. They're bringing back Russia. Schiff is doing that again. You have the so-called leader, the director of the FBI, out there, you know, in testifying that Russia's doing something again. It's basically they're trying to do that as a cover, while the Soros groups and this what they have with the DAs and district attorneys and the AGs across the United States gather to make sure, because if we elect President Trump, reelect him by the vote count, those are the folks that are going to steal it, try to take it away from us.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I think it's something that, like I said, we have to be ready for it because it's gonna be on us, and we have to keep in mind, and I'll cover this on Monday too, I'm not prepared, but I know there is a certain date in January that if an official proclamation or whatever has not been made who won the election, Nancy Pelosi's the president.
I saw something floating about that. I think
that's for sure,
because the inauguration is like the 21st. So if it isn't done by the 20th, then she's the one that's going to go in there until whatever litigation or whatever is going on. She'll be in charge, right? But that's well, she's going to be reelected. But that's to accept the fact that the Democrats will still maintain control of the House. Now, if the GOP wins the House, will they have to put in a new Speaker of the House, and will that person hold the reins until they decide the presidential mess?
I don't know. I hope we don't have to worry about it. I do. Like I said, the answer is to get out there. And, you know, I blame a lot of this on Jeff Sessions too, man. I mean, he took himself out of the fight for the president's life, really. He should have moved after that election in 2016. Somebody should have been on this immediately, on the election of 2020 and the machinations, all the different logistics and everything else. It should have been, I don't think the government did enough. I don't. I think
why didn't he say, you know, I'm going to stay in the Senate? You know?
Yeah, something, because that was we like treaded water in the DOJ for he should have at least been out there firing some of these deep state people. I mean, I distinctly remember when President Clinton took office from George H.W. Bush, they fired every DOJ attorney, every single one of them, and that's the problem. We didn't. Trump got in there and wasn't advised properly. He should have kept Steve Bannon on longer. You know, or
Clinton came in and cleaned house. Hillary cleaned the White House up. Remember, she took everyone that was there was fired. They brought in their own crew.
They took the whole travel team out and replaced it with a group from Arkansas. You know, and we just never seem to learn. We never seem to learn. And you know, when you look at what we've learned about the Republican Party in the last 3 years, it's no wonder. It's absolutely no wonder. I just wonder how many Republicans got paid off for supporting these criminals. Because you know it's got to be high. One thing the Clintons aren't is stupid, and I know they were passing that money around. You know, you just wonder. You wonder.
And it makes you think, you know, scratch your head. You know, you always sit there and say, why are the Democrats in control of all of these large cities? And you hear it often. You say, because the Republicans never come in here. We never see them. We never see them. And so you're thinking, are they just afraid to go into these cities? Or could it possibly, since we're always talking about the uniparty, could it be an agreement between the GOP and the Democrats? It's like, you keep your big cities, you know, let us win, you know, the breadbasket and all this stuff. And then we'll put up arguments, but in the end, we'll just do whatever the hell we want.
And I mean, it's that, but there's other factors too. And I just know that from growing up where I grew up. And, you know, when you start talking about voting blocks, I mean, unions are huge. And when you convince a whole lot of union members that the Democrats are better for them, even though right in front of their face they're not, you're going to get that vote. Now, there was and on the other side, you know, as much as they ridiculed him for it, Mitt Romney was right about if you put somebody, if they're in the 47% that don't pay taxes and are just getting benefits from the government and no penalties, which is the brilliance of the progressive income tax, you're going to have all those votes too. You know, so Republicans don't even try. I mean, they go in there and
it's kind of defeatist, though, right?
It's
that's where
I know.
Trump is like freaking busted in there like a bull in a china shop. He's like, everything's up for discussion here, you know.
Indeed, and he elevated the economy to a national security issue, and won unions because of that, and should continue to.
And it's had global, worldwide, you know,
ramifications,
results from it. You know, the way the whole globe is operating right now has changed because of the way he's operated, using the economy as part of our national security.
I agree, and I think that's one of the and you know the other thing too. This guy impresses me every time, and I hate to sound like that. I really do. But I mean, you know why peace is breaking out in the Middle East? Because we got out of Bob Corker's Iranian deal. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really put that together. I didn't put it together at all. I heard him say it. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think of that. That's pretty good. I mean, you're going to have Saudi Arabia, you know, making kosher meals here pretty soon in the hotel. You know, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, I'm not so sure how I like the idea of Jared Kushner having such a strong role, but man, he's getting results. You know, he's a liberal, though. I mean, he's about some other things like amnesty, and I just hope the president holds the line on that.
Well, if you're looking at, like we all talk about the president when he went with, you know, T-Rex and all that in the beginning of 2017, when he sat down with the 54 or more Arab leaders, you know, and at the end they had that big sword dance. So you knew damn well that the president, whatever he discussed with all of these countries, was completely different than what the U.S. stance was for the region over the, you know, past 30, 40 years. Basically what he said is, hey, we don't want to have our people here fighting all the time. Right. You guys need to step up and you take care of your region. We can set up trade and sit there in commerce, and you guys can participate in the whole Western and the way the globe is working with products and everything, and we can all get rich, you know. And you don't have to worry about the United States having their boot on some nation's neck and sitting here. We don't want to be here. We'll trade with you, and we want to be out. You guys step up and take care of your area. And if you look, so far it's right. Bahrain, we saved them, right, in Desert Storm, and the UAE, two small countries. But if you pay attention, Saudi Arabia has allowed the overflights from Israel. So that's close to them joining on board. If you get Saudi Arabia and Egypt to publicly sign in on this, what they're doing here, boom, it's over. Iran's, going to be the one that's going to miss out unless they, have a little change of heart.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Joy Villa is a pro-life, pro-America, pro-Second Amendment conservative singer and actress in Hollywood who loves the Trump administration and has been outspoken as a regular political commentator on Fox and Friends, Mornings with Maria, Hannity, Water's World, and many other programs. She also is the author of the new book, Kick-Ass Conservative, How I Escaped Liberal Feminism to Become a Freedom-Loving Trumplican, and How You Can Too. Joy Villa, welcome to Cold War Radio. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr., and my co-host is Jack in Virginia. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great this evening. I'm in Sacramento for a 1776 free event. It's a speaking gig, which is going to be incredible out here. A lot of patriots, yeah.
That's awesome. That's part of the president's new patriotic in the classroom deal, which is such a big deal. That's cool. But thank you for sharing some time with us, Joy.
Absolutely.
All right, so I want to talk about your book in a minute. I actually interviewed you before, when we first were on the stage with the beautiful dress, the red, white, and blue dress. I was
that's right.
I was a co-host on the Wayne Dupree show and got to interview you a couple times. So it's great having you, talking to you again.
Great to talk to you again too.
I was going through YouTube a little bit, doing a little bit of research for the show. And as a white guy, I saw something that you were involved in St. Paul, and I just wanted to ask you: are you oppressed?
The only person who was oppressing me was that white Black Lives Matter activist who was screaming in my face with his stinky breath.
Oh man, I was watching it.
Person who was oppressing me.
you were magnificent. It looked like you were uncomfortable. I don't know the context. It didn't look like there was that many people, but they looked like they were just ignorant.
Yeah, it was disgusting. I mean, the Black Lives Matter activist who's white, singling out a black woman in the crowd. They came upon our group, by the way. There was 400 of us and only 4 of them. And he decided to scream in my face and tell me I'm oppressed.
Unbelievable. You handled yourself well, though. I was proud of you watching that.
Thank you so much.
Talk a little bit about your journey. I mean, like when I first interviewed you, you were just. I'm not saying you were just coming on the scene, but I had just heard of you, and now, you're an author and you're just doing all these things. I see in the media a lot. Talk about your journey from back then. What started it?
Well, my journey is, that's why I wrote this book, Kick-Ass Conservative. It's out now. It's on not iTunes. I'm used to promoting my music, but my music's on iTunes. But it's on joyvilla.com, which your listeners can get 20% off if they join my mailing list. So Kick-Ass Conservative is out on Amazon. The book is blowing up. It's only been out for 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. And it tells the story of how I left the left, my walk-away journey. What started it? What sparked me wanting to wear a Trump dress to the Grammys? Being around all these other great conservatives during the last 4 years, having met the president, the first time he tweeted me, and then I got invited to the White House, and then,
nice.
Having met Ivanka, the administration, Kellyanne Conway, and all of this, along with staying in pop culture and creating music and doing a new film. I'm doing I worked with a conservative filmmaker. It's called The Contrast, a romantic comedy. So having still maintained the arts while being a conservative person of color, woman of color, hasn't been easy. I'll tell you that much. I've gotten numerous death threats and insults and, but it's been worth it. 100%, because I believe that what President Trump has been doing in this country has proven what he campaigned upon in 2016. And I know he's going to do it again. So this is the most important election of our time.
Oh, you've said a mouthful there. You're really that I don't know. I can't even imagine if the president doesn't win. I mean, that's where I am right now. Now,
he's not gonna lose. I've been to places all around this country. I was just in North Carolina at Trump's rally, and the president thanked me from the stage. I was wearing my red Trump dress, my Trump 2020 dress that I wore at this year's Grammys. I wore to the rally, and the president thanked me from the stage, and he featured me, just a little bit of me in his new campaign ad, which was incredible. So, I mean, there was 15,000 people there. There are so many people and like 8,000 more people couldn't get in. I mean, there's so many people out there who want this president to be elected. And this new study that just came out, it just shows 45% of gay men are voting for Trump.
Wow.
Of this poll. I mean, this is huge. Black Americans up 10, 15%, in the polls they're doing. Hispanic vote is huge. I mean, he's going to have an incredible amount of voters who are going to go to the polls who've been silent for the last few years and have been told they need to vote Democrat or else, right? Need to be basement Biden or else, Cardi B. All these people are telling these, all of us to vote a certain way. And they're not going to say anything out publicly until they take it to the polls, and they're going to vote him in.
I think you're right, and I'm going to pass this over to Jack in a second. But I wanted to just mention something. I think one of the president's qualities, and he's had this actually before he even came into politics. I just don't think he did it for the same reason. But when you talk about different groups in America, they've got us all cut up in so many damn groups. Right. It's actually sickening. It's like the Balkans. It's balkanization. But he manages to get super talented people in every one of those groups, yourself included, that are just appealing and happy and love the country. You talked about the gay man vote. Rick Grinnell, I would vote for him for president.
Oh, I love him.
This guy's a warrior.
I love him.
I hope in the next administration we have a lot of agencies that really need to be cleaned up. And, man, I hope they put Rick Grinnell in one of them, like the FBI or the Department of Defense, wherever we need to, maybe the State Department.
He used to lead the FBI and the CIA.
Wow, okay. Well, he's certainly a warrior, and that's the kind of guy we need right now. And so
absolutely.
That talent has always been with Donald Trump. He was always at the top of the fight game and a whole lot of other different things. And he didn't keep losers around him. But Jack?
That's right.
Yeah, Miss Vila, you are very, very busy lady. I mean, I see you're part of the Trump re-election campaign. You've just mentioned that you're doing a 1776 event out west right now. So you're highly active with the Walkaway and, with the Walkaway movement. And I remember like a couple of weeks ago in Texas, there's, outright, people attacking the person, Brandon Straka, who started this.
That's right.
Wasn't it the 4th of July, the celebration at the White House? He was attacked leaving that event. And then, the hashtag Walkaway movement to me is like hope for the future. It's not people just leaving liberalism. It's people leaving a Democrat Party that is now becoming communist.
That's right.
No one's talking about losing your freedom to choose and all of these things. That's, to me, who's taken that away is those people on the left, the Antifas, BLMs, all of them people basically are saying my way or the highway. How risky is it right now for you all in the Walkaway movement to gather and share your views?
Well, it's risky only in the way that people absolutely hate when individuals are expressing their freedom, like certain people. and they're going to try to attack it and call us names and call us bots. But Brandon has been so steadfast. He's one of my best friends, and he actually wrote the foreword to my book, Kick-Ass Conservative. And, it's something that's necessary. It's always going to be risky, but the bigger risk is if we don't share our views, if we don't encourage others to walk away, if we don't encourage people to register to vote and to, look up what they're voting for, all the way from the president to smaller local propositions and changes. People need to know what's happening and be informed. And that's one good thing about politics and pop culture joining forces, is that now everybody's talking about the presidency and the election. We see a lot of celebrities who call him names, like Deborah Messing called him a pedophile on Twitter. I mean, it's just disgusting calling the president that.
I'm sure that she probably knows some actual ones.
Right, exactly. She's the one. I'm sure she's been in those circles, but she's lost her marbles a long time ago. And these celebrities think that their opinion's going to matter. In the end, it's not. It's the voters. They want to know what policies are going to help their families, what policies are going to help their jobs, what policies are going to lower taxes and bring the economy back. And this economy is so good even during a pandemic. It's actually a few points higher than Obama's economy at the same time.
It's amazing, isn't it? Considering
that's amazing. Considering everything that's been shut down and companies that have been gone bankrupt under this, 2 weeks to slow the spread. That's happy 6-month anniversary of our 2 weeks to slow the spread. But it's an insane world out there. If we don't stand up, we're going to lose our country.
Right. I mean, they're on the precipice of doing that. You see all the media out there, the media outlets, along with the pundits out there, basically saying, covering for a candidate who should be, in my opinion, maybe, sitting in a hospice somewhere, drinking some nice warm soup and, being thanked for his service with 50 years or whatever he's done in public service. We don't need him sitting in the White House making decisions for us right now.
Right, exactly.
You said something earlier that struck a nerve. Andrew Breitbart used to always say that politics is downstream from the culture. And you mentioned that you have a romantic comedy coming out. I think that's what you called it, right?
That's right.
And Dinesh D'Souza has a film coming out, Infidel, that's not a documentary. It's a regular feature film. And I think that's amazing. That's starting a trend, and that's how we do it. In my opinion, right. You can't just have Cold War radio. You got to have like some entertainment as well. That's the way that we decided that we were going to try to fight back, is have this show. It's not huge, but it's one of the things that keeps us going is, man, we got to do something. And I think that is so important. And I see you guys working together a little bit too. I have a couple comments about your book. In Kick-Ass Conservative, Joy Villas shows why she is an American heroine fighting for conservative values in America. Her stories and experiences will illuminate the darkness in today's political climate. That's from Dinesh D'Souza. She's a beautiful warrior for all things good and true. In spite of persecution and absurd consequences, Joy has boldly taken a stand for the American principles our country was founded on, the pursuit of liberty and justice for all. That's from Stacey Dash, who is now she's a co-chair of the Women for Trump Advisory Board.
That's right.
And finally, Joy's story highlights American values we should all hold dear, free speech and free thought, in the face of a dangerous cancel culture that seeks to suppress and silence. Her message is timely and important. Ori Renat, White House Chief Digital Officer. So that's amazing, and I think that's a winning strategy.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about your music. I know you're passionate about that, and a little bit more about your book.
Yeah, my music is my, is one of my number one passions. I've been doing music all around the country, around the world. I've toured 35 countries. And my book, it details that, details how I started my journey. I wanted to share not just my politics, but also my art, my creative side, and a bit of inspiration to people so that they can really dream big and use the American exceptionalism that we've built in this country. You know, American exceptionalism means you can have the American dream. You can be a star, you know, whether you're a business person or a mom or a dad, you can you can dream big and create a business around it, or that's capitalism, right? You can be a mommy blogger, you know, in America and make it. You can start a small business and make it. And I always encourage my Joy Tribe, my fans, like, dream big. Whatever you're doing now, do something big. And that corresponds with politics too. Run for office in your area. You know, start a political campaign or blog, or volunteer, you know, do things that were outside of your comfort zone. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, and God's really placed it upon my heart to do even more. So I started a prayer circle for Back the Blue we just did, and we had a couple of candidates that came out. Joe Collins, who's running against Maxine Waters, who's an incredible guy. Eric Early, who's running against Adam Schiff, incredible guy. Rhonda Baldwin Kennedy, who's running in Ventura. So these are, you know, beautiful person. And all three of these candidates came out to my prayer circle, and we had about 50 people, and we prayed outside of the hospital in Compton, California, where those two officers lay, those deputies that I'm sure you heard of that got ambushed and shot, and they were in the hospital recovering. And we just prayed for them for 3 hours, and we sang, and I just said, I have to do this. We had Lexit come out, which is the Latino exit from the Democratic Party, and pastor of a church, and, you know, we just did it. I didn't get a permit. I said, I'm just going to do this. God put it on my heart. So it's doing little things like that, joining marches, joining local events, supporting candidates, supporting people that we have to do. And I talk about that in my book. You know, with only weeks left to this election, I want to encourage your listeners to, if they can, purchase my book and glean from it some sort of inspiration so that they can then get into action. Because every voice matters right now. All of us matter. Your vote, your promotion of people running, your, you know, encouragement, your conversations with someone who's on the fence, telling them why you're conservative. It's time for us to stand up and be bold and be kick-ass conservatives.
That's amazing. And in the prep for tonight's for your appearance, I stumbled upon your YouTube page, and for the folks listening, it's Joy Villa. She's your YouTube page, and a song that you put out a year plus ago, "Freedom, Fight for It."
Yes,
amazing song for this time. We got just over 40 plus days. You listen to that. That's going to put some energy in the batteries to take this over the finish line. Right. You know,
that's right. That's right. Well, this has been amazing, guys. I've got another interview to do, and then I got to get ready for the event tomorrow. I am so honored to be able to talk to you again, and I appreciate if your listeners can just check me out at joyvilla.com, check out my book, check out what I'm doing, and if they sign up for my mailing list, they're going to get 20% off.
Well, you make it easy there. You did my job for me. That's outstanding. You got
right.
you got a Facebook
they can also
page.
Follow me on Parler and on Facebook at Joy Villa, and on Twitter at Joy_Villa, and on IG at Joy Villa.
Ladies and gentlemen, kick-ass conservative Joy Villa. Thanks for coming on the program. We hope we can get with you again.
Thank you. All right. Good to talk to you again.
Joy. Good night, Joy.
Bye.
What I want to be known as the guy who was awakened from a sleepwalking liberalism by a man by the name of Clarence Thomas, who stood there in a dignified manner as they tried to destroy him, yet he wasn't destroyed. And I want the Democratic Party and liberalism, I want my professors at Tulane and in the humanities departments to know that they tried to brainwash me to side with liberal Democrats in order to attack those that disagreed. And I want my legacy to be that they know that they screwed with the wrong guy, in the United States of America, you have the right to think freely. You have the right to be whatever you want in this United States. And the idea that the Democrat media complex would tell you that you are a slave to an ideology, to a mindset, that if you don't abide by it, we're going to punish you severely. That's as un-American as anything that I can possibly imagine. I don't care if you would agree with me or disagree with me on policy. What I care about is that you have the freedom in this country to live your life as a free, rugged individualist. And I am at war with anybody that would tell you that you don't have a right to be a free man.
Andrew Breitbart, thank you, man,
Thank
for
you.
being here with me today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your weekly jihad report. 46 jihad attacks, 200 killed, 152 injured, 4 suicide blasts, all occurring in 12 countries. The Religion of Peace atrocity of the week, actually it was a couple weeks, at least 58 people were killed and 17 kidnapped when Muslim militants attacked 2 villages in the mainly Christian northeast of the Democratic Republic of Congo in early September. Other recent misunderstandings of Islam: on the 16th in Iraq, Shiite militias slaughter a women's rights activist in her home along with her parents. On the 15th in Nigeria, Islamists opened fire on villagers, bringing down 8. On the 15th in Pakistan, radicals slit the throat of a Hindu doctor. On the 12th in Mozambique, Islamic extremists attacked trucks ferrying people, killing 2 passengers. On the 11th in Mali, a pregnant woman and a 2-year-old are purged by jihadists. On the 11th in Cameroon, a Shaheed suicide bomber sends a half-dozen civilians to Allah. Islamic terrorists have carried out more than 719,000 deadly terror attacks since 9/11. Coexist, ladies and gentlemen. The religion of peace, one body at a time.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Where in the hell did that hour go? Man, I'll tell you, good radio. I got one thing to say here before we get into the rest of the program, which we only have an hour to do. There's a museum in my city, the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. It's an icon, been there a long time. And there's a display in there, a life-sized diorama that depicts a northern Arab individual, which makes him black, riding on a one-humped camel. There's a name for that animal, and it's dromedary or something. It's eluding me.
Dromedary?
That's that one. And he's riding this camel, and there is a dead lioness on the ground in front of him. This is all full size in a glass case, big glass case. I saw it when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I saw it. It was wonderful. But it was brutal. With a male lion on the back quarter of this camel with its claws, dragging it down. The camel is in distress. The courier that's riding the camel is terrified. The piece was constructed by French naturalist and taxidermist Edouard Verreau and his brother Jules Verreau for the Paris Exposition of 1867. It has been on display at the Carnegie since 1899. Over the decades, it has become a popular attraction, as I mentioned. my personal experience. Well, the woke generation decided that was just out of control. Why? Black Lives Matter and racism. Jack, they went into every aspect of this thing and determined that the North African Arab that was riding the camel couldn't have been anything other than a vision of an Arab through a white man's eyes, because his clothing represented 5 different tribes. And racism.
According to today.
Yeah, racism. And there was no way that they were going to allow a dead lioness and a male lion depicted as the hunter, because the lioness always did all the hunting. Mm-hmm. So that was like out of control.
Can't do that either, right?
And the final straw, I guess back in the 1800s, what sculptors used to do when they were, coming up with a male sculpture, they would find a male skull and put it and mold everything around it so it would look right. Mm-hmm. And they found, that there was a skull inside this sculpture, so it violated the museum's standards on showing human remains. I mean, these people have lost their minds.
This happens, right?
They've lost their minds. Anybody who ever came through Pittsburgh knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was up on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and it was the highlight of going to the museum. There was others, and they'll probably get rid of them too, because I know one of them was like Hopi Indians and different things, and I know, and they're all full size and just amazing to watch or look at, especially for a kid.
What are they going to do with the shrunken head exhibits?
Oh, it's probably gone already. I don't know. I mean, this is nuts. It's nuts, and we have to stop it, man. As adults, we have to stop this.
The museums and art exhibits and the museums of history and all that, those are the exhibits there are places for teaching moments.
Every time I went to that, almost every time I went there was with my class. In school, in grade school.
Teaching moment, opportunity for the kids to say, ask questions, and you learn. And you say, well, this looks, a certain way right here, but this was during a period of time when this was going on, and we don't behave like this anymore. We kind of lean this way or that way, or we're not into savage lioness attacks on a dromedary camel with the black man at the reins.
Right. No, I know. But, it's crazy. I'm looking at
all of the statues. You wipe out all of the exhibits. You wipe out all of the
turn us into Cambodia.
Offend somebody. This
is a foreign invasion of our country, Jack. That's what this is. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. This is not.
No pun intended. They're trying to whitewash the history of this country.
You're damn right they are, and it's not. It's being funded from outside the country as well as within.
Right. And it's the grand experiment was too successful. They're trying to put us back in our place.
That's exactly right. I heard in the newspaper. I read in the newspaper tonight that the report was from the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, which used to be a little bit conservative, but it said that President Trump is trying to institute, with the 1776 project and all that, he's trying to institute something that will eliminate the truths about slavery, which they were quoting the 1619 project, that the whole country, this was just a slave operation. That's the only reason that we even came here. It's ridiculous. It's destructive, and I don't think it's going to work. I don't. Now, we're going to probably have to beat the snot out of these kids to get them to believe, if they don't beat the snot out of us first. But I don't think there's enough of them, Jack. I don't. I just I don't feel it. When you're around groups of people.
Perilously close from the point where they have actually wiped out the history that would back the truth up. They're swiftly replacing it with the agenda that they have going on, and that's
right.
why.
But there's too many of us that
key
know the truth. There's too many. We have to. That's
right
why.
now. Yeah,
that's why I say we have to keep
This is
it
an
up.
important year, right?
That's right, man. That's right. And shows like this are important, and all the 500 other shows like it. I mean, I want to go collective because this is so big. I mean, I wish I had millions of people listening. You know, but I don't know.
It's for. I mean, this show is successful because there are so many people out there that shake their head when they listen to what is being spoon-fed to them via the news, whether it's the public, the taxpayer-funded PBS or NPR radio stations, whether it's ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all that stuff. People that know better are shaking their heads, and they're out there. Wait a minute, that's not what I was taught when I was a kid. There's got to be somebody out there trying to spread the truth.
That's
why
exactly
they
right.
And they find us here, and they find other folks out there. And
let me just give a shout out to you guys out there listening right now. Not exclusively, but especially the chat room, the people that listen live, but not exclusively. The podcast listeners are every bit as important. We don't have any advertisers here. Jack said something that this is a successful show, and he's right. This is a successful show. We have the best that we can get. I mean, I've got an RS-20 microphone in front of me, which is the same microphone that Rush Limbaugh uses. Mine's not gold plated, but we'll get there. Maybe not, but I mean everything. Our platform, everything's all paid for, and actually because of the debacle of CPAC and the Republican National Convention, a lot of you donated to that, thinking that we were going to go there. And at the time, I thought we were too, but we didn't. And so I'm sitting here and I have your donations in an account. And last week, I made a decision that I don't need that much in the account to sustain this show. So I took about half of it and I cut it up and I gave it to every co-host because these guys work hard too. That's a successful show. There aren't a whole lot of podcasts that make money, and I'm not trying to make money. But I'll tell you, it is nice, and I want to give a shout out to all of our patrons. And there's also people that are not patrons, but they donate at different times for different events. And I apologize that we didn't go to those events. But I want to be transparent and tell you what happened to your money. And there's a nice chunk that's sitting in the bank, for whatever we need. And I every month I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 co-hosts and I've got a communications director. 4 out of those 5 people, and only because one just said no, I'm good. I don't want anything. I'm in good shape. And that, not to say that other people aren't in good shape, but I don't want to sit here and hoard stuff. So I break up every month and I take 1/10 of what you guys send as patrons and I give it to the co-hosts. And it's not much, but it's appreciation. And I think that you people would like me to do that. I mean, it's not just me here. I can't do this by myself.
It's very generous of those that tune in. And that actually, the dividend that comes this way helps purchase the software, to be able to, congregate, where our back room, our green room, where we put together the show and all that ends up, with as much information as we put together over the years. That has gotten to the point where that's costing us monthly. So what you do to help out the show helps me to make sure that I have the space needed on this invisible cloud deal that I can participate and be able to be a part of it. So it's a blessing.
It is. It absolutely is.
To me, it's like the Lord's saying, "Hey, keep doing this." Our audience needs it, and it's shined a light shined upon what we're doing. You know,
I think so
it's
too.
not in vain. Right.
And we've got such great co-hosts. I mean, you guys got to. I'm sure
Sal,
the audience
Stacey.
realizes it. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you can tell these guys work hard. Now, I'm going to get to the phones in just a second, but I want to talk about something from the New York Post. Thank you, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't say that. But a 17-year-old boy interning for the Republican challenger of Representative Ilhan Omar was fatally shot in North Minneapolis on Monday, according to reports. The fatal victim, Andre Conley, was among two outreach workers for Lacey Johnson's campaign that were struck by gunfire outside of a Super USA convenience store, WCCO reported. And now here's when it starts getting thick, but I don't know what's true and what's not. We'll find out. Lacey's campaign told the network that the two were not performing campaign duties at the time of the shooting, and the act of violence is not believed to be politically motivated. My nephew Andre did not deserve this, Conley's aunt Fatima Green said at a Wednesday night vigil, KARE 11 reported. The surviving victim, a man, was hospitalized in stable condition. We are shocked and saddened to learn of this senseless act of violence, the Johnson campaign wrote in a Monday statement. So either they were taken out for politics or they were taken out because Minneapolis decided to defund their police, Jack. I mean, it's one or the other.
I mean, it may highlight the fact that, hey, you might need to vote for somebody else other than Ilhan Omar, because even though they're not actually actively campaigning at the moment, perhaps they need to go to the store and buy a loaf of bread, and they're shot down when they were leaving it. You know, is that what you want to continue with Ilhan Omar as your representative?
You want to live in Little Mogadishu? Is that what you want? I mean, I'd like to see her living back in Little Mogadishu.
I remember, you know, in the 80s, the Minneapolis, I mean, that place, the Twin Cities, Prince and the Revolution.
That's all I think about is Prince.
Home based in there. And I was like, man, that place is going to be happening. They had the largest mall in the United States. Everything was like boom, boom, boom. And now you look at what's happening to that area.
Look what happened to that mall, you know, with the Islamic attack several years ago. Yeah. Sean in California, you're up. What's up?
Hey, Hutch and everybody, how you all doing?
Hello, Sean.
So
doing good. We got to go back to that rule that we had back when Kerry was still around. Go ahead, man. You're good.
Well, you know how you all said to look out for the American flags and count how many versus the Black Lives Matter? Well, I've been counting how many campaign signs versus the ones for Biden.
Okay.
So I haven't seen anyone for Trump yet. I haven't seen any of those yet.
You've never seen one. You've not seen one sign for Trump Pence 2020.
No, not yet.
That's
I'm
disturbing.
still looking for those. I know. I'm still looking for those, but I do see. Here's the kicker: Republican signs for Brian Marriott running for my district.
Okay.
So that's a good step in the right direction. I do see only 2 to 3 signs per the neighborhoods I drive through for my practice driving for Biden.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about contacting that campaign and offering your services?
One?
No, the one in your district, the Republican. The Republican in your district. No, I'm dead serious. Think about that. I mean, you seem like you have a lot of energy.
I always donate to them.
He's focused in on it. You know, to me, I was going to be more humorous. I'm asking him, how many negative points would it have cost you in your driving session if you had just ran over a few of those Biden signs during your training?
I wanted to. I really, really wanted to, but then I was like, it's not worth losing my permit and not having a driver's license for the rest of my life. So, but I did. Here's some updates on the driving. I did pretty good today for the driving to Home Depot. We had to go and take measurements for our new sink. One of the fixtures for the sink busted, so we had to get that replaced. That sucked. So now we have to redo the whole cabinet.
Okay.
The whole cabinet's water damaged, gone.
There you go. That
Like,
good
oh,
OCB.
boy, this is not great. So
aired out,
yeah.
and dried out, quick.
All that good OSB, man. All that good shave is good.
Well, the whole thing was old as hell, so now we have to replace it and all the good jazz. But I practice on my parallel parking and all that, so I'm doing pretty good. And I even dealt with a little bit of traffic, so it wasn't all that bad. I didn't get anger driving, whatever you want to call it.
Road rage.
You didn't road rage yet.
Road rage. There it is. That's the word.
Yeah, I don't think you're ready to drive around with the 45 in the console yet. Probably not. But give it time.
No, but I'm getting better, and my instructor has pretty much told me, hey, you're almost there.
Good.
But you need to start being ready to drive around other people, such as traffic.
And tractor
we need
trailers.
to expose you that more.
Tractor trailers. Yeah.
To that too. So we're going to try that next time I get them back for the last class, and hopefully I'll be able to pass.
Well, just remember when you go from the hammer lane or any lane on the left into the right, make sure if you don't look over your shoulder, you better know that your mirrors are covering all the blind spots. That
right.
and the other thing too is like I said before, don't be blaring the music. Use your ears to notice a car near you too.
No. I have the radio off. That's a strict rule with me. Don't turn the radio on. I'm already nervous as it is.
You'll get over that. But hey,
white knuckling out there.
Thanks for calling.
Some of the
Sean.
safest places driving on the interstate that I find, you find a set of 18-wheelers that are like working in unison, like a boom, and they'll like move. You get up in there and you just that you're flash your lights and let them come into your lane, but you hide and run with the professionals. You can have a safe trip. Don't always look at the 18-wheelers as the enemy.
Oh no, but the only downside to that is you can't see in front of you.
Well, you back off far enough that you're not right up on their hind end, sniffing what they ate last night. But
true.
That's true. All right, Sean, you have a great weekend. Thanks for calling.
Peace out, guys. You too.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, we're going to go back to the phones in a second, but first we got to start. We got to start with this show that we have. I got a couple Joe Biden clips, and some of them are pretty interesting. I'm trying to find. Man. Oh, there he is. There it is. Joe Scarborough stated a fact on MSNBC that he just mentioned it like. They mentioned climate change. Like, well, everybody knows that climate change is real. So let's go on to the next thing. Joe Scarborough on Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, welcome back to Morning Joe. Hey, John Heilman, just to wrap up that last discussion about seniors. So much of what Donald Trump's done has backfired. We've talked about June 1st. We've talked about Kenosha. But also when you're talking about seniors and coronavirus, that's one part of it. But another part, isn't there polling out that shows that his constant attacks on Joe Biden is senile when obviously Joe Biden is not senile?
Obviously he's not.
Is actually backfiring on Donald Trump as well.
Yeah, I don't know about polling, Joe, but it's a suspicion that you and I have had for some months and we've talked about. And so when I was in Florida this week, I was asking, some smart Republicans down there, what beyond COVID,
because the rest of us are dumb,
that the way Trump has kind of been casual and mismanaged the
geography,
the pandemic,
maps.
And how that's hammered the senior community. What else is it about? And a lot of them pointed to this notion that if Trump had run a campaign, a kind of subtle campaign, which is kind of, impossible for Trump. But if he'd run an attempt kind of make Biden unacceptable by going after his age and saying that he'd lost a step, that he wasn't up to the job, that he had lost his fastball, whatever, that was the kind of attack that a lot would have resonated with a lot of seniors, because a lot of seniors are aware that when they're in their 70s, they're not, they've lost a few miles per hour on their fastball. They can't do what they did when they're in their 60s. But when they hear Trump attack Biden as if he's addled and senile and lost it, that's the kind of thing that, and again, we all know seniors in our own lives, that's the wait a minute, hold on a second. You're just saying because the guy's in his 70s that he's lost it, that he's addled, that he's senile? They take that personally. And so it's anecdotal. And one of the big things that's problematic about this COVID era is the amount of great qualitative research we have is not anything like the way it normally would be in a presidential year. We're not out doing focus groups. You can't get to talk to people the way you normally would. But among Republican strategists in Florida, if you ask them, why is Trump hurting the seniors, they come back with two answers. One is COVID, and one is that he's overplayed his hand in how he's attacked Joe Biden as being, as being mentally infirm at this point in his life. They think that's backfired.
Yeah, especially when you look at the reels of tape that The Daily Show has on Donald Trump having trouble completing sentences. It really is. It's a ridiculous argument, an ageist argument, strangely enough, coming from a 74, 75-year-old guy. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
75-year-old guy that just declared peace in the Middle East. I mean, just little things, nothing real big or anything like that. But Joe Scarborough, that declared Biden senile, which obviously he is not. Well, what are you watching, The Daily Show when you see Biden, Joe? I mean, help me out a little bit. Are you missing it? This is what I mean about these people being stupid. They have no idea. I don't think they leave their studio. I don't know what it is. Ken from King George, your thoughts. What's on your mind?
Okay, so anybody that gets their news from The Daily Show, let's start with that.
Right, exactly.
You're a freaking moron. Okay?
Sure.
These people don't know the news, even though they claim to report the news. The CNNs, the MSLSDs, the whole shoot match. They don't follow the news.
I think I blame.
You were talking.
I think I blame.
You were talking earlier.
Was it Jon Stewart that used to have the?
He was the burning bush of truth, Jack.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, he was the one that ruined it. People thought that he was preaching news. He was a comedian.
I'll tell you, the one that gets me, that's just so obnoxious, is Colbert. Colbert, who thinks he's French. He thinks he's French. Yeah, he thinks it's Colbert, but it's Colbert. Yeah. This guy, what an obnoxious guy. I did see a funny one the other night, though. I was surfing through YouTube, which YouTube's getting bad, too, man. I tried to watch a press briefing today, and, man, it looked like it was sabotaged. Man, my screen kept on blowing up. It was horrible, but I watched one with him and Bruce Willis, and they staged this fight. It was fun. Anyway, go ahead, Ken. I shouldn't even have brought that up.
Okay, so you mentioned YouTube. So Thursday nights, you're not on. I'm like, all right, hey man, it's Crowder free night, right?
Oh, he's good, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, I kind of queued the thing up, and it wasn't going, and then, I kind of watched part of the Trump presser, or, the people that were kind of gearing up for Trump to show up on RCN. And next thing you know, I was like, all right, let me flip back to, and I clicked the wrong tab. And so I was like, well, all right, well, they were already into it. So I scrolled back, and then all of a sudden, boom, oh, hey, wait, this feed's gone now. So I was like, well, let me
Time Warner. Shut it down.
I'll tell you, I'll be on there.
It wasn't even Time Warner.
I'll be on there, and it'll just everything will move. Like I'll be going slowly down to see what I want to watch, and the majority of stuff that I watch on YouTube is not political, And all of a sudden, you'll just see this giant scroll of all these different YouTube posts going by, and I don't know what I missed. I start scrolling up. It's just acting funny, man. There's something going on out there.
It's active. The social media giants are actively although they say they're not, they say they're just trying to make sure that only the truth is heard. They are manipulating folks' access to information.
Hutch Bailey Jr. is suspended for life from Twitter. I'm done. You know what I mean? And so many other people are starting to be done, and they're not even hiding it anymore. They're censoring Trump, for God's sake. I mean, I think it's almost time. It is almost time for the federal government to say, hold on, national emergency, shut the whole duck-plucking thing down.
Yeah, shut the internet.
Shut it all down. Shut all these. I mean, if you want to adhere, this is
mass
America.
You
This is
shut down the
America.
internet.
Good. I mean, this is
Oh my
America.
God, they flipped. These leftists flipped out over net neutrality. Getting rid of this whole net neutrality thing. Because oh my God, we were all going to die. Because nobody had
those same folks weren't crying when President Obama signed away the ownership of the internet from the United States. He signed it over to a globalist.
I don't know, but my man, President Trump, Trump canceled TikTok, though, didn't he? We'll see what happens. I'm optimistic in a way, but we've got to win this election first.
Well, I'll tell you what. After watching, I was like, you know what? I'm bored as hell. I want to watch something that I'm going to be entertained by, and so I joined Mug Club last night.
The Mug Club.
And I was like, I got to finish watching that. And okay, so now I know that. Okay, there was no way in hell that Biden lasted as long as Georgie's stuffing envelopes. I love that, by the way, Hutch.
I forget where I heard it.
Question. And after what, an hour, he was done. Standing in front of a drive-in theater, and I'm like, really,
You had
dude?
to pee. You had to pee.
Yeah, hey, the key thing that he said last night, which was not even challenged by the CIA operative Anderson Cooper, was he said if Trump would have acted 1 week sooner, 0 people would have died.
He's responsible for all the deaths. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hideous. Absolutely hideous. And it's going to come
And these
back.
people eat this. Yeah, these people eat this shit up like
It's because they're lazy. They're lazy. They're lazy. They're brainwashed and they're lazy, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Ken, I got to let you go, man. I got a bunch of people behind you.
I just have one real quick question for Jack. Were you playing along with the drinking game? Because I thought I was going to need a new liver after.
No, I was thinking about. Yeah, I was thinking about starting, but YouTube shut them down too quick. I never even had a chance to go to the refrigerator.
All right.
What are you going to do?
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. All right. We're going to go to the phones in a second. But first, Biden didn't just get jacked up now. He's been jacked up for a long time. And I'm going to show my age, and I'm going to guess that some of you remember this show. The original Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Now, on the political scene, one of the Democratic candidates is Senator Joseph Biden. Have you seen the problem he's been having? He went around and made a speech. And apparently, he quoted I think it was a British politician, took his speech and kind of paraphrased it as his own. And then the press got on him, and then he was charged also with taking part of Bobby Kennedy's speeches. And Biden says, not to worry, he reassured his staff. He said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Marlene from Eugene, Oregon. Biden's been lying since he was in his 30s and probably before that. Corn pop.
Oh, my gosh. I love Johnny Carson. I miss that. That was back when that show was great.
I knew that was going to hit
I
a
know
nerve.
he wasn't the original, but in my mind, in our minds, he might as well have been.
Well, he was original for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
I guess it was the Jack Paar before him. But,
That's before my time.
Yeah, that was. I don't really remember much about that other guy. I just
Dick Cavett. I watched Dick Cavett. I watched Jimmy Hoffa and John Kerry on the Dick Cavett show. But anyway, your thoughts?
Johnny Carson was nobody was safe.
Carson was great. Playing great.
What was the music, guys? Doc Severinsen.
Doc Severinsen.
Yes.
Doc Severinsen. And Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon.
Yes. Oh yes. Memories. Even
you
my
go.
parents, they loved Johnny Carson.
So did my dad, man. I mean, it was like he was the man.
My dad does too. He loved them.
Everyone feared, making the mistake and then ending up a skit on the Johnny Carson show.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, he was great, man. He was.
Yeah.
He was a nut too.
Yeah, but he was still for the show. He was terrific. All
he
his
was.
craziness aside, he was good. But switching gears a little here, I was going to mention something. I put the article in the chat room. I won't go through the whole thing, but basically it's talking about an intruder with a knife, boy being held, no Portland police response for over an hour and a half. But it was this guy named Henry Karim. He was ducked out of his Southeast Portland apartment. He went to his car looking for a missing bank card when this strange man ran into the ground floor unit of his apartment. He closed the door, locked it. His 12-year-old son is inside. And Henry fumbled for his house key, and he was able to get back in the house, and he's like, I'm scared already. And then next thing you know, it gets crazier.
No, I'm listening. I'm trying to put myself in, and I'm like racking my 12 gauge.
Oh no, no kidding. Yeah, here's this poor little 12-year-old kid. He's, luckily, the stranger grabs the kitchen knife. The scared little son had enough sense to run out of the apartment, and it took the police more than 90 minutes to come there to arrive. Just before an officer finally appeared, the suspect runs off. More than half a dozen calls had come
90 minutes. That's worse than Detroit. That's worse than Detroit.
Kidding. I know. It took, and half a dozen calls came into 911 over the course of this whole thing. But that didn't speed anything up.
Jesus.
And also, since
You can't blame the cops,
July,
though.
Oh, well, I know, I'm not blaming them. But anyway,
You can't.
also,
You can't. Go ahead.
It's not. But anyway, since July, 49 officers of the Portland Police Force have retired.
Oh, of course they did.
Another,
Hey, do you remember? You guys remember the series Law and Order?
yes.
Law and Order has two different sides. It has the police and the detectives, and then it has the district attorney. If you don't have the district attorney on your side, what the hell why is it worth it to go risk your life to drag scumbags in if the district attorney is just going to let them go? And the next thing you know, Black Lives Matter and Marxists are going to freaking dox you. The cops, they're going to dox where you live. In New Jersey, two cops that were married with a little kid just had 12 rounds shot through their window.
Oh, I know.
It's unsustainable. And, damn, I hate to say this, Marlene, because you're right there. But more citizens in the area are going to have to get hurt before it changes. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to play a clip right now, and this is from Portland.
Okay.
I want to scroll down here. This Portland woman. This is to a reporter on a Trump supporter that was murdered in Portland. I want you to listen to what this lady says.
I don't think I've heard of another Trump supporter being shot. So the what? He got shot. Is he alive?
I believe he died.
Oh. Tough luck. Don't be a Trump supporter in Portland.
When that's the mentality
That is horrible.
of
That
the
lady
civilians,
I want to slap her.
You know,
Good Lord.
I mean, first of all, how long was? Well, let me see here. Hold on, let me.
I don't think I've heard of another Trump.
Okay, it's an 11-second clip, and she drops the F-bomb twice in an 11-second clip.
I noticed that.
You know, I mean, if that doesn't change, it's going to get much worse before it gets better, Marlene. I mean,
You're right.
If you have, especially women, if you have women that are that callous, women are normally, you know, I've always lived by the mantra that women civilize men.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a little bit. Women civilize men. It is absolutely godly true. You know,
I'm thinking about it, and that makes sense.
we would go out there and ransack everything if it wasn't for our wives.
Right.
Or our girlfriends or our daughters or whatever, our mothers.
Mm-hmm.
But when the women start getting uncivilized, there's no hope. There's no hope. There's just no hope. It's scary. And that let me play it one more time, man. Listen to this woman.
I don't think I've heard of another Trump supporter being shot. So the what? He got shot. Is he alive?
I believe he died.
Tough luck. Don't be a Trump supporter in Portland.
So if you support a political candidate, screw you, man. You died. Who cares? It's unbelievable.
Kind of where she's coming from. But
Well,
a little lighter note.
It's 100% Trump hate that's driving that woman to say what she did.
And whoever pays her too. I mean, let's not forget it. Let's not forget about that. That's not a natural reaction. That's a reaction when you're defending somebody.
This is a desired result of what the left has been trying to do, is to make every decision emotional, based on emotion, not on this cerebral analysis of, hey, you know, we're doing it this way because in the future it's going to benefit your whole area. No, it's like, oh, Orange Man bad, you must hate him. Don't listen to a word he says, and anyone that listens to him deserves to be murdered in the Portland streets.
Unbelievable. Right? Unbelievable. Yeah. Final thoughts, Marlene.
Oh, another thing. Yeah, I was going to let you know that group you were thinking about was called Black Futures Lab.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Black Futures Lab. That is it. And
yep, that's
this
the
is
one.
This is a Chinese operation, folks. I'm telling you. And I think, you know, one of the things that I'm very happy about is I'm starting to see A.G. Barr coming to the plate, man. He was at Hillsdale College this week, and he delivered a speech that basically he knows what's going on. Now, whether or not he has the capacity to act on it all is yet to be seen. Right. But at the very least, he's aware of the sedition that is going on in this country.
Yeah.
He's aware, and that's a good thing.
That is good. Also, some good news, and then I'll kind of finish up here. We got some rain last night and all of today, and I tell you, it feels like Oregon again.
That's excellent. That's good.
So nice. Yeah, even a few thunderstorms. I didn't notice so many over here, but just getting that rain back was a real blessing.
That's outstanding. That is. So we start. So then we probably turn the corner on the fires, or what?
I think we have. At least around here, I think we have. I haven't heard any more horrible reports, at least from around here, like down in Roseburg or anywhere else. But I know that Blue River was pretty much decimated, and some of the people out in that area, the good thing is a lot of people around here are helping them.
Good.
You know, and donating, and they're letting them get their mail in Springfield.
Okay.
I saw something in the paper, but yeah, I think insanity with the fires, at least around here, has calmed down, and I'm very, very grateful. I really am.
Well, I got kicked off of Twitter for saying I wanted somebody to be hanged, but I'll tell you, the arsonists out there ought to be hanged too.
I think I agree. They should all go to the gallows.
They should.
Seriously.
All the damage they've done. Anyway, have a great weekend, Marlene. We'll catch you tomorrow with Berg's Eye View, along with all the rest of the patrons, and Steel City Resistance on Sunday. Good night.
Thanks, Marlene.
Marlene from Eugene, Oregon, ladies and gentlemen.
They've had a rough year up there.
They have.
Now the place is burning. You had to deal with this, whatever the Biden, Harris, the leftist uprising of the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter through that region. I feel for them. Beautiful country, but laid to waste by what? Folks that want to save the earth? Doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make sense to start fires in a place that rains every other day either. I mean, that area rains a lot. I don't know. Anyway, at least it's hopefully. I mean, it's already, the damage is already done, though. I mean, my God, I don't know if
last week we did the show and it was an amazing number. What, over 7,000 plus human created fires? Wasn't it in California?
In California, yeah.
But
Gavin Newsom's still out there talking climate change.
Yeah, climate change.
It's unbelievable. Regina just called in, but I'm going to go to Ralph first because Ralph stayed on the line waiting for about 20 minutes. What's going on, Ralph?
Yeah, kind of a hodgepodge of everything that you guys have been talking about, and a few things that I was thinking about here, so I'll make it quick. In the keep it simple KISS mode, 60%.
Say the last S now. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. So all this stuff that's been going on, starting out with Biden, okay, a.k.a. Captain Brain Dead. 60% of Democrats believe that he has the onset of senility like Parkinson's or whatever. And when people like that get into the latter hours of the day, they tend to get
When's the last time you saw Biden at night?
Exactly.
You haven't.
When's the last time you see him at night?
Never.
If he's like Dracula. When the sun goes down, he's got to be indoors. Otherwise, God knows what happens.
He's probably talking about Ted Kennedy and, yeah, go ahead.
And when he's reading the teleprompter, a lot of times he'll read the prompts on the teleprompter that's for his consumption only and not the speech. He's done that before, too. Then we remember last week where he flipped a monitor screen around or something, reflected what was on the teleprompter, and everybody was like, oh, see, we told you he's spy.
They're like, raise his fist. Damn you, Trump.
And then you got Joe Scarborough, and, they're talking about Joe Biden as senile, which he obviously is not senile.
He's got 3 of his 4 marbles still working.
His elevator went to the top floor, but the doors didn't open.
Yeah, well, that guy that was on Scarborough's program that brought up the fact that Trump wasn't supposedly, according to some survey or poll, was not resonating well with seniors.
Yeah.
That's because they claim that as they have senility and all this, that means that Trump is making fun of them as well by criticizing Biden. His elevator doesn't go to the top.
Well, I'll tell you something, Ralph. I'll tell you something. I go to a lot of diners. All right, and this is my city is a leftist hub, and I can't tell you, seniors in my area have the most balls out of anybody. I don't even like to wear my MAGA hat outside. I don't, man. I'm not looking for a fight. I don't want to have to shoot anybody. I just don't want to do that. So I don't wear my... These guys got Trump 2020 masks on. I'm talking husband and wife. You know what I mean? 60, 70, 80 years old, rolling into the diner in the city of Pittsburgh wearing a Trump 2020 mask. They don't care. I am not ready to give up on the senior citizens of America yet. I'm not, and I probably never will.
And they vote. The millennials don't.
Yes, they do. They damn sure do.
That's why they've been pushing this. Since you mentioned that, that's why they've been pushing this thing from the Biden camp. And Joe was talking about it today in his little speech about that Trump was screwing with Social Security and all this. And basically, he's just trying to sit there and remember a bunch of stuff that he's supposed to recite when he was doing that speech in front of whatever union it was.
Right. Plus, he's got to pee. He always has to pee.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
always.
can I
Yeah,
jump in
I
here,
want to.
fellas?
Hold on. I want to let Jack bring some breaking news to the table.
Yeah.
Jack.
This just flashed up on the screen, and we had talked about the passing of Justice Ginsburg earlier. And I mean, what is this? An hour later, body's still warm, and Mitch McConnell has already chimed in and said that there will be a vote on President Trump's nominee. Now, I don't know if that's a leading thing or not. It's kind of distasteful for me.
I don't care. I don't care. I hope it happens. I do.
Well, yeah.
We're in a war. We're in a war. Goddammit. You know what I mean?
We got an election coming up in 45 days.
That's okay.
And
I think that is. I have no problem with
Take a
that.
deep breath and look at it. The justice just passed this evening. We aren't even finished with our show, and you already have turtleneck Chinese pundit Mitch McConnell saying that he will.
Well, you got a point there.
You're already seeing them manipulating this
You have
information right now.
You have a point, but I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to take
just
back.
saying, that just happened.
No, I got you. That's big. That's big. We'll see what happens. Ralph, final comments, sir.
So I believe it's Miss Amy Barrett. Get ready, because if you thought Justice Kavanaugh was bad, they're really going to come at it with us being 40-some days out from an election. They're going to go apoplectic when this thing rolled up first thing in the morning.
Well, let me ask you
Because they're
something.
already-
Hold on. Let me ask you something. Do you think, after all we've been through for the last 6 months at least, with the riots, the burning, the destruction of the economy, do you think a contentious Senate hearing on a Supreme Court justice, when you know how the Democrats are going to act in that hearing, do you think that's bad for Trump or good for Trump?
No.
Because
Good for Trump, because it's showing the American people everything up close, personal, and in your face. This is how these bastards play.
And Jack, that was just my point. That was my initial gut reaction to the news, and my initial gut reactions are not always. They're not always
which is fine. You know, we differ and stuff. You know, you give your position and I give my position.
Absolutely,
it's not a big deal.
That's why I asked
the very next thing that Fox News went to is a live feed of Biden out there talking about the passing of Ginsburg. Now think about that for a second. Right prior to this, live presidential candidate talking about the legacy of Ginsburg, you have a little Mitch McConnell wasn't talking. It was just a picture of him and then saying that Trump's nominee will get a vote.
Because he
Yeah,
pledged that. He pledged that
I know
6 months ago.
You're looking at optics. You're looking.
No,
at
I understand.
talking about
I understand completely.
So Fox News isn't your friend, folks. Is what I'm saying.
That is the best takeaway from this conversation, what Jack just said. Fox News is fake as hell. Fake as hell. Stop watching it. I'm telling you, he is 100% right on that. Martha McCallum flashes to Minneapolis and said, the battle against police brutality, that's why this is happening. Come on, guys. Come on. Ralph, thanks for calling, brother. Have a great weekend.
48, 47 days. It's crunch time for the Republic.
It is. And we're going to go to Regina in just a minute. But first, we have a story from Pennsylvania. ABC News and George Stephanopoulos, or Stuffing Envelopes, a little skinny soy boy, who really did well in his personal life as a communist. He was Bill Clinton's communication director. He was in charge of slaying all of the female victims that Bill Clinton sexually assaulted. Did a great job, so ABC gave him a job. And he held a quote-unquote town hall of undecided Biden supporters where even the Trump supporters were anti-Trump, never Trump. But they also had a CNN and Anderson, what's her name? Anderson Cooper was the moderator.
Vanderbilt, Gloria Vanderbilt.
Exactly. Yeah, a little fatherless dude who likes to. No, I'm not going there. But anyway,
Don Lemon.
Lemon. But no Trump supporters at all at this town hall. And karma is beautiful, because I know the governor and the mayor of Pittsburgh and the Allegheny County communist Rick Fitzgerald. I know they helped get me kicked off Twitter, for one thing, but they don't get it. Listen to this Biden supporter tell the truth.
Mr. Vice President, this is Susan Connors, who runs a local HVAC business. She's a Democrat. Susan, welcome.
Thank you, Anderson. Mr. Vice President, I look out over my Biden sign in my front yard, and I see a sea of Trump flags and yard signs. And my question is, what is your plan to build a bridge with voters from the opposing party to lead us forward towards a common future?
Well, you've got it exactly right.
Well, you've got it exactly right. We're going to send them all to the gulag. She told the truth, man. Pennsylvania is pure Trump. And Tom Wolf be damned. And the rest of these people be damned. I mean, it is unbelievable. She told the truth. I want to go to your neck of the woods, Jack, and welcome Regina to the show. Hello, Regina.
Hello, Hutch. How you doing? How you doing, Jack?
How you doing, Regina?
Oh, I'm doing good. I was sitting here listening to you. I missed the first half of that because I was watching President Trump. I got sidetracked again.
How is it going? And I want to thank all of our listeners, because it's tough going up against a Trump rally. It is, but I have no choice. You guys know I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m., and I have not betrayed that trust very often. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good because he was going into I guess budgeting details. I'm like, ain't that something? Everybody's learning about budgeting from President Trump.
Right, because the rest of this reporting is superficial at best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's about, oh my goodness, if you look back at these so intelligent news readers, and we're talking about things that aren't even important. You know, I mean, I look back at the Paul Ryan days when the Republicans controlled the House, which controls the purse strings. How many budgets did Paul Ryan commandeer? None. Zero. But anyway, continue.
Oh yeah. He was talking about how much Air Force One was costing and stuff like that, and how old it was, and how much he had to try to cut the price down on getting the new versions of Air Force One and stuff like that. He was talking about that, and I was like, okay. He was trying to get them to bring it down from I forgot how much billions of dollars.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Point something. He's like, no, I'm not paying, but like $1 billion for this.
Right.
You know, don't talk to me. You know, the first president that actually knows what the numbers mean. Right.
Oh, it's great. It's so refreshing.
Look at him and say,
like with NATO. We're paying for this whole giant defensive perimeter around Western European communists. You know, that, I mean, you look in London and their mayor is a jihadist and he bans guns, so murders by knives go up. You know, they go through the roof. These aren't our allies, folks. They're not our. We saved their asses and they're spitting in our faces. And he's the only guy that has the intestinal fortitude to say it and to cut off their money.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I mean, Hutch, you served in the Middle East as
a little
well as I
bit.
did for my brief time in there. And one of the deals when we were the folks going over there to serve, we were all briefed on the local culture and stuff. So as when we're there as a presence, we don't insult the culture that we're in their country. And that was the first time that I was sat in a classroom and learned about bartering. You know, they said, hey, if you're in a situation where you're with an Arab and you're trying to discuss price for this or that, it is an insult to accept the first price demanded for certain goods, right? They say, well, how much you want? And if you're an American, you go up to say, he said $3, so I'm going to give him $3. They'll be like, this guy is a piece of crap here, you know? You got to sit there and haggle, right? It's old school.
My brother-in-law, who I've talked about a lot on the show, great guy, but we were sitting around the table about 10 years ago, I guess. Might have been more than that. And the converse, you know, the guys started getting together, the women started leaving, and the guys were around the table, and, you know, the conversation started, you know, and he was like, you know, why does it have to be the Department of Defense? You know, and I'm thinking, damn, that's some brilliant stuff you're talking about there, T. You know, we should be, the United States military should always be on offense. They should either be on offense or they should be in the frickin' barracks. Right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it used to be called the Department of War.
Right. There it is. Exactly. Exactly.
That's an implied threat.
Once the first guy in uniform with a weapon sets foot on foreign soil, he ought to be there to break shit and kill people and take their stuff. If it gets to that point, we should never have any more presidents sending military people somewhere. It should either be congressional or non-existent. This is where I agree with Rand Paul and his father before him. We should never, ever, ever send our military outside of our borders until we're going there on offense. And when I say offense, I mean break all their shit, take all their stuff, bring it back home, and deduct what it costed us to do that, and then maybe we'll send the rest back. But that's just my crazy opinion right now at 5 minutes to 10.
It's a good one. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna go. I guess with a couple of your subjects tonight.
Okay.
The Prager I saw William Barr. I saw that a clip of the video. Basically, William Barr was putting all those daggone lawyers on check again.
He did.
All the DA, he was putting them on check. So I hope they got the message.
I don't know. I hope so too. I mean, and basically what he said, ladies and gentlemen, is he said a lot of things. But one of the things he said was these rioters bring them up on sedition charges. You know, if you're running out there and saying, burn down America or whatever the current slogans are, that's sedition. And the other thing, Regina, is anybody that denounces the United States of America is not eligible to purchase a firearm. Let's tag them. I hope they are, and I think they are. I think the Department of Justice is starting to move, man. I just see signs around. I see signs about things that are happening. I see these montages of mugshots, and I'm thinking, I really don't like this super surveillance environment that we're in right now. I really don't like that. But I
don't like it. I don't like it either. So I think from what I'm looking at is that they got all this stuff out there in the open now, like especially with the CDC.
Yep. See, there's something wrong there.
They're doing that COVID tracking stuff, and it's got a lot of people up in arms about that.
I agree 1,000%. I think you might see a major restructuring or maybe even abolishment of the CDC. The CDC is a leftist organization. Did you hear the CDC chief telling you that a mask, which is designed to protect other people from you, that's what it's for. It's for people that are sick. And let's forget about COVID. Let's forget about the Wuhan virus or the Kung flu that the Democrats just went against the First Amendment and passed a resolution that it's illegal to say those two words, those two phrases. Forget the First Amendment. Let's just look at the fact that he said his mask protects him better than the vaccine. We're supposed to trust these people? I trust them as much as I trust the FBI. Because the FBI director just came out and said that the most dangerous organization in the United States of America today are white supremacists. He just said that. He said that to Congress. He said that.
Yeah.
Have you ever met, and in Virginia, you might have, because I spent a lot of time in Virginia, but I'm just going to ask you, have you ever met a white supremacist?
Nope.
I haven't either. But I know a lot of people that are Marxists involved in Black Lives Matter. And most of them aren't even black. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh
it's
yeah.
Crazy.
And the last thing, I'm gonna leave it out on is now all the people that they tearing down the statue of, they had bad histories, yeah.
Sure.
So why can't we talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her bad history? And
I was going to say,
the other people that passed, like John McCain with his bad history.
Mm-hmm. No,
They had a bad
before I
history too, but
continue.
they wanted to put them up on a pedestal and stuff like that. No, that don't work. No. You gonna go with tearing down the statues and stuff like that? So we're gonna go with y'all too.
I'll tell
Y'all
you,
gonna get the same thing too.
Regina, I got to tell you, it's a breath of fresh air that we have you as a listener. I just got to say that because every time you come on here,
good fight.
you are. And every time you come on here, you're spot on. And I hope you have a great weekend. I really do.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Keep calling too, please.
I-
Regina from Richmond, Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. What a gem. I don't know what else to say. I just
And, I mean, a lot of
I love this
talk
audience.
about-
I love this audience.
Yeah, they're amazing. And the one thing this week, one of my thoughts this week of what can actually happen, backfire upon the folks putting all of this pressure on the United States, is you look at this small thing called homeschooling. You've had the elites, the people in Congress, all of these people basically shutting down schools. Teachers, administrators, all those folks with those unions are getting paid full time. You know, they didn't have to end last year's school, and a lot of the areas aren't doing the schooling besides online, Zooming, the type crap. Hey, you think about the pressure that was put on to the nuclear family from the women's movement starting in the 70s all the way up until now. You went from a single income family to a dual income forced family with all of these expensive child care, expensive expenses. And you get to this point where they basically shut down the country, and you have the opportunity now, right, with this shutdown for a single income family, if the government would redistribute the federal education money that they used to just hand to all the school districts. If you did what Trump and the Republicans wanted to do, give those funds to each family, and then they could either spend it for a private school or this, or perhaps maybe even educate their own kids while they're working at home, because there are so many jobs now that have now, because of the shutdown, turned the corner, eliminated the brick and block. Everybody has to be here. You can do all this stuff at home. So you can have folks with one income, father or the mother that's out there away from the house, and you can have the father or the mother at home, homeschooling and doing their job, and everything's cool. Now think about that for a second. Wouldn't that just upset the apple cart?
All right.
Pausing.
All right.
There's how
You got to watch that internal chat.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to click it. I thought I put you to sleep. I'm like, I hope I didn't put the audience to sleep, but it's an opportunity.
Sometimes you got to make a move, man. You know how it is in the studio.
Right. But think about that. You've never, before this happened, where they shut down the entire country, you've never even had the opportunity for a two-income family to even think about the possibility of one of the working parents working from home via the internet and being able to also teach their children, keeping them out of the brainwashing public schools. And
you talk about the brainwashing of public schools. Look at what we just did. What we just did goes against everything that we have learned as a species. We quarantined healthy people.
Right.
You don't do that. That is so politically obscene what we did.
And the left would have you believe that they were on top of this virus, this Chinese virus, from the get-go, and the president was shunning his responsibilities to react in time. No, that's not what was going on. You had the president under impeachment, the left campaigning for their nominee, and you have the president on his own, once he got the information, shutting down incoming traffic from China, while the left sit there and declared him and said that he did that. That was basically racist and xenophobic for him to respond that way. And even, Pelosi, Chinatown, come on down. Let's have some egg drop soup. Come on, everything's cool.
Hug a Chinaman. Yeah. Oh, my God. He said Chinaman. Ban him from Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
I wear my face mask in my car so I can virtue signal in my neighborhood. And I wear my face mask when I walk so I can make sure they all know I'm really smart.
Keep your distance.
While they're deceiving me, it cuts my immunity. TV's got control of me. I turn it on, they say.
But this is not over yet.
Don't trust the man with the orange skin, oh no.
It comes from China. There has to be some form of punishment.
Don't mess around with the CDC numbers. Oh no, I can't believe it. We gotta make him a billionaire, oh yeah.
And then the final solution, which is a year to 2 years off, is the vaccine.
I wear my face mask in my house so I can stop a symptomatic disease spread to myself. And I wear my face mask when I bike so I can placate all the Karens at the park. And now who is deceiving me? Trade freedom for security. TV's got control of me. I turn it on, they say. Don't take it off till the vaccine's here, oh no. Get microchipped and go back to work, oh yeah. Oh no, I can't believe it. He's not just a nerd, he's like a doctor too, oh yeah. The contact tracer's knocking at my door, oh no. I'm just a number. I wear my face mask in the car. I wear my face mask when I walk. I wear my face mask in my bed.
You guys get the picture. Enough of that. The Federal Department of Justice. Jack, I look at this story, and to me, Let me just run through it. The Federal Department of Justice looked at the possibility of charging Portland area leaders. Now remember, this is September 18th. They looked at Portland area leaders with crimes related to the 100+ days of perpetual riots and other unrest. Some elected officials, such as city council persons of unspecified gender, Chloe Udele, who doesn't know if she's a man or a woman, and Joanne Hardesty, who knows what that one is, openly encouraged the protesters, or as Martha McCallum on Fox News said, the people fighting against police brutality.
Why would you even try to? Why is that even in the description? Right?
I don't know, but my point is with this whole thing is, and you worked for the federal government, even though at the state level, but funded by the federal government with the full-time National Guard, and I did it with the reserves. And we know that the federal government is the slowest organization to ever be able to react to anything. Does it strike you that every time the DOJ or the FBI is involved in anything, they are 2 days late and $6 short?
No, it's not surprising.
I mean, with every terrorist attack, you always heard that the FBI had them on their radar.
Exactly. That's
well,
the
I would
first thing
say
I was thinking
the
about.
FBI radar is broke as hell, man. Or the people that are watching the radar are broke as hell.
No, the radar means that the FBI was like egging on a certain person and providing him the information and the fake substance, the inert ingredients to probably place an IED in the United States, and they arrest him, and the FBI was on the job, arresting this person that they set up.
The mosques in Boston, they supposedly surveilled them, but the Boston bombing happened anyway. They're worthless, man. The federal government, when it comes to this kind of thing, I just, we have to, as a nation, let them know this is unacceptable, man. This is horrible.
We just had the deal with Comey, right? Got him out of there.
He's still free. He's still free.
Still free. You have all the information of where he lied to Congress, where he was instrumental in trying to trap the president. And actually, he's like 100% responsible for the Mueller investigation to begin.
Ted Wheeler,
Comey, right?
you got the protesters, and you have, they call him Vichy mayor, and what that refers to, for those of you that don't remember World War II, was
Vichy France.
The French government in Paris signed on with the Nazis and allowed the Nazis to come into Paris and into France and take over everything, basically, including the women and children. And at the end of the war, they were all executed. But that's the Vichy mayor, Ted Wheeler, and Governor Kate Brown, who simply turned a blind eye to all the violence and instead tried to blame straw men white supremacists. Now, they're both white, so they're completely Vichy here for causing the chaos. Then you have the Multnomah County District Attorney, a Soros-funded individual, Mike Schmidt, who announced that he would drop the charges on most of the rioters. Don't forget the high-ranking police commanders, such as Deputy Chief Chris Davis, who have assisted the rioters by ordering officers to shut down freeways to cede the areas to the terrorists. the Chinese Communist Party terrorists. This is in conjunction with apparent long-standing orders for police to stand down. In Pittsburgh, Mayor Peduto did it and should have his head shaved and be tarred and feathered. Baltimore, many cities, to do their rioting. If we don't institute the death penalty, and again, this is why I was suspended from Twitter, because I think, as an American that served my country and lately have started self-reflecting and going, God damn, did I waste my life? Did I waste my entire adult life protecting this when I have a communist mayor, a communist county controller, and a communist governor, and I didn't even get a chance to fire one shot? I wonder. I do.
I look at it simply like this. You get to you're a parent of a child. You heading to, like, maybe the younger listeners don't know, but there used to be the Toys R Us. That was the Christmas joint for the kids. And if you're a parent, you took your kids in there, and all of a sudden, one of them asked for this item, and you just basically said, no, you can't have that. And then they do the belly flop or the back flop on the floor and start tantrum and screaming and trying to destroy the display. And
I wish one of my kids would have did
you
that.
Snatched them up and said, "You're not getting nothing. We're getting drag them out by their ear and take them home."
I wouldn't even have to worry about that. My wife would have done that.
Yeah, but that's what the adults these days are. Those kids
You're right.
out there on the streets.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, let them get their way. It's like
that's true. It's so true, and you know, it's even more prevalent in our society where single parenting is okay, because now you don't even have the jerk off like me countering the woman that is supposedly nurturing the child and entering, you know, in a little bit of hold up. No, we're not doing that.
Right.
You know, when you don't have that, you get this.
Setting the line. You know, this is, you go here, you go over this line, you're going to, you know, pay some price.
That's right.
Coming up. But
Pennsylvania Supreme Court strikes down Green Party candidate from ballot, allows late ballots to be counted up to 3 days after election. So the communists in the state house in Pennsylvania have declared that there can be no candidate from the Green Party on the ballot. Think about that.
they think, unwisely, they think that by taking out the opportunity for the Green Party supporters, you take away their vote, that if they don't have a choice for their candidate, that they will vote for Biden. And they are sadly mistaken.
And let's go to Tennessee. Email records show Democrat Nashville mayor hid. It says COVID-19, but I'm trying to use my imagination here. The Wuhan virus data to intentionally inflict economic hardship on bars and restaurants. You know why that is? Because small businesses do not buy the Chinese Communist Party's line like big businesses like Walmart, Home Depot, all of them do. So let's put out of business all these small business owners and just rely on the cowards on the executive boards of the big business owners, because they're all down with China. Another RICO opportunity for the Department of Justice.
Right. You think about what they did you think about the mom and pop stores. I think a lot of the younger listeners might not understand that, but a lot of the older ones will be, because the mom and pops got choked out. It used to be a lot of mom and pop gas stations. It used to be a lot of mom and pop
service stations, not gas stations. Now they're gas stations. When we were kids, they were service stations. They washed your windows, checked your oil, right? Had maps, everything.
Joints, right?
That's all they are. That's
But
all they
back
are.
then, they would take care as a full service. They'd make sure that you had your tire pressure right, your oil's good, your radiator fluid level was good, your wiper blades were great.
Clean your
everything.
windshield, everything.
And, and that was what it was. Your service station took care of your car, and you could air your tire up on your own, and it wouldn't cost you a dime. It would just sit there. You rotate the dial to 35 psi.
Right.
Boom. It would bing, 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 and then stop when it was good. You know?
Let me go through the rest of this because it's got a lot of information. This was posted on yesterday by Sundance at the Conservative Treehouse. While the background story of data manipulation to intentionally inflict economic damage is stunning, the severity of the position of Nashville Democrat Mayor John Cooper is actually not a surprise. It must be. I want you guys to listen to this guy. This is Nashville. This is Tennessee, folks. Nashville Democrat Mayor John Cooper is actually not a surprise. It must be remembered that the same Nashville mayor who created Wuhan virus internment camps to forcibly detain people in a quarantine camp at a fairground. When one person jumped the fence to escape, the police hunted him down, and Nashville authorities charged him with escaping a penal institution. COVID-19 was criminalized. 2 months after the internment camp incident, a non-domiciled Nashville citizen, let's just translate that, that's a homeless dude, named Joseph Bryant, 61, was arrested for refusing to wear a face mask outside. His bail was set at $500, and he was incarcerated for not wearing a face mask. So it doesn't come as a complete surprise to discover that the same officials hid data showing low COVID-19 infection rates in order to inflict the maximum amount of economic pain on business owners. Now, that tells you all you need to know about these leftist city officials. I mean, Jesus Christ, America, you have to stop electing these people. And I'm looking. I'm telling you, I am actively getting ready to take up Stacey Rush's advice to move down to Georgia. And I've been from Pennsylvania my whole life, man. I mean, this is who I am. Now, I took 20, 30 years off to serve the country and was all over the place. A little bit of it in Georgia, which is why I'm looking at that. But
it's a little steamy down there, but you know.
It is. And it's hot as hell. I mean, it is. But, you know, I got enough money for the air conditioner. You know what I mean? That's where I'm starting to look at it. It's like, hold on, man. You know, I'm looking at this governor in Pennsylvania, Jack, and I'm waiting for Virginia. I can't believe Virginia hasn't chimed in yet because they're part of this.
There's a lot of pressure from the swamp, which has caused a lot of Virginia's deal. And I'll have to admit, I didn't see the beginning of it, but
neither did I.
Now that that I'm involved and understand a little bit more, and know there is a lot of evil involved in that beltway. If you folks look on Google Earth and just look at the DC and look, you see a bullseye there. You got the beltway that sit there and
seven of the 10 richest counties
Within that
in the United States of America surround D.C. And if we lose this election, man, the United States Senate, D.C. will become a state. Puerto Rico will become a state. And they will have 4 new senators and will never be able to beat them again without a war. That's terrible. We're going to go to Steve from Kansas, a new caller. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Hutch. Hello,
No,
everybody.
I guess you're not a new caller because I got your name there. You called before,
No,
but thanks
I'm
for calling.
the Kansas dude. Yeah.
You're the Kansas dude. Flatlander. What's up?
Yeah. Well, I made the mistake of watching Fox News for about 5 minutes. And the slobbering that went on over there about the death of this evil, well, I can't curse, this evil thing.
If you feel
just
like
made me
cursing,
sick.
just go ahead and do it. It's all right. I'm at that
A
point.
piece of shit. How's
yeah,
that?
that's fine. That's fine. It's Friday night.
And yeah, even on Facebook, though, rest in peace. Oh, she was a great woman for young women to follow her. And I'm sitting there, what is wrong with you people? You bitch about this garbage all these years, and then all of a sudden you're all nicey, and it's disgusting, Hutch.
It is.
I don't
but,
know,
you
man.
know, it's respect. It's we're trying, and this has hurt us so many times throughout the decades. Is trying to pretend that we're dealing with a civil adversary, and we're not. We are dealing with an enemy that wants to cut our livers out. And
Amen.
yet we continue to go at them with the Marcus of Queensberry rules or whatever those are.
Well,
And,
I mean, I have to. I understand what the caller's saying. I understand what Steve's saying. I have some of the same sentiment within me, but there's a certain part of me that also says I don't have to act like my opposition.
Right. Let's not be them. I agree with you. I do.
That's what I'm saying. Give them a day or a week, and then boom, it's on.
Yeah. Then we're going to put them in the ground. Right. I agree.
Let me put it this way. I don't respect evil, number one. And I've all along said, please retire, spend time with your family.
Right.
That's being pretty civil right there, right?
It is.
But then you see all this damn slobbering and bull crap going on, and I'm sitting there, here we go again with these stupid Republicans, the party of cowards. They're not going to be able to do what they're saying they're going to do and fill this vacancy. You watch.
Steve.
They're going to bend over once again.
Steve, I am so proud that, and I don't know, you probably didn't get it from here, but I'm just so proud that you understand the situation that we're in concerning the Republican Party.
Republicans, right.
I am so glad that you understand that, because if you look back in our history, which most of these morons are not even capable of doing,
right,
and you look at why the Republican Party was formed in the first place, it was because of a raggedy-ass Whig party that could not deal with slavery as the issue of the day. And also, not only that, but I would urge our listeners to go back in history, and if you need any help, email the show, scrtv@live.com, or go to the research room at steelcityresistance.com, because, and go to the research room, because the evolution of the Republican Party from the Whigs is almost exactly where we are right now. In other words, we're here right now, and we have this raggedy-ass Mitch McConnell, Pat Toomey, John Cornyn, Lindsey Graham bullshit party that is only trying to protect the status quo. They're not. Has anything good ever happened from a Republican Senate hearing? No. All it does is create smoke and mirrors to make dullards think that something's being done. Trey Gowdy, all these people, the Fox News, what's the guy, Jack?
Chaffetz,
all these guys are the biggest enemies of freedom the country has ever
look
seen.
What Senator Graham did this week. He basically announced last night that he's calling in James Comey.
Man,
like
screw
that's
him.
going to appease America.
Here's
right?
what a Senate hearing does. A Senate hearing allows a felon or a traitor to get off. That's all a Senate hearing does. If a criminal comes in front of the United States Senate, chaired by the GOP, they're going to appear in front of that hearing, and then they're going to be free. Nothing's ever going to happen to them.
They SWAT team Manafort. They SWAT team Roger Stone.
Breitbart.
And there is
and
zero
what about the triple
going on as far as the real criminals within our,
We get it, Steve. We do. We know.
Yes.
But your further thoughts, brother?
Well, I just want to tell y'all what great shows. I do not miss a podcast. I have to listen to them at work or while I'm working.
Good for you.
Thank you.
And
you got some of the best audio I ever heard, too, by the way.
Oh.
You have radio
thank
quality audio, dude. You do. I don't know
It's
what.
that ham radio.
All right, yeah.
Awesome.
You're not talking on the phone, right? You got a microphone.
I am. No, I'm on the phone.
Well, that's a good phone.
I am on the phone.
Whatever
Yeah.
phone you have is a good phone.
It's a Note 9. Love it.
It sounded good. I'll tell you that. That's for
Well,
sure.
thank you, sir. I just wanted to tell you guys what a great job you do. I do not ever want to miss an episode, and keep it up. And we're trying to get this governor, by the way, trying to get this governor out of Kansas. She's a total witch.
Yeah.
And she did the mask crap again. And I don't wear a mask anywhere. I'm like you. I don't.
I'll tell you.
Hell with it.
You have a general that lives in your state. He was actually the food service officer at Leavenworth. His name is General Greg Couch, one of my all-time American heroes. He was my commanding general when I was in Iraq, in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he revolutionized the way that we provided logistics. One of the things that he did was he commanded the Air Force to not make any more one-way deliveries. In other words, our soldiers were getting murdered on convoys. And for stupid, I could go into this, but I'm not gonna. But a lot of commodities were moved over military supply routes in Iraq for comfort. In other words, pizza for Pizza Hut, ingredients, just dumb stuff that you wouldn't think that people would risk their lives for. And a lot of people died, were killed, were murdered because of getting Pizza Hut's ingredients to the FOB. And one of the things that this great commander did was he mandated that the Air Force, if you're taking a supply load to this district, you better have something coming back from that district, to wherever you came from. Great guy, Greg Couch, out of Kansas. Steve, thank you so much for calling.
Right? Secretary of State, Kansas.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. Any final comments, sir?
No, that's it. Just want to thank you guys. Definitely.
Well, I want to thank you for listening, sir. Have a great weekend.
Okay. All right, sir.
All right, man. It's cool getting a caller we don't
Ham
get all
radio.
the time.
That's right up your alley.
It is WJ3J. That's me,
Yeah,
Steve.
and I still
Steve.
remember in Desert Storm running the Mars thing and hooking up soldiers in Saudi Arabia and being able to communicate with their families via the ham operators in the United States. It's amazing to think about, 4,000 miles away, a little rat rig radio operation, thin wire bow hitting, East Coast hams with phone patches.
No, I was too. I did that. It was a really fun time, and I wish I still had.
Now it's like nothing, right? They have cell phones and cell towers.
You had to work for it before. That's right. That's true. You had to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment, which I did have, and I made my own antennas, so that was a big.
Right, the frequency you had to measure it out to make sure that the wire was a certain,
Yeah, to get that half wave dipole out, sure. And you know what? I'm getting ready to go in. I'm going to go back into that. I've already started pre-positioning equipment at Camp Vienna. I've got an old Yaesu 101E, man. I mean, this radio is like the gold standard of before printed circuit boards. Like
high dollar equipment.
Well, no, not high dollar. High dollar, the new stuff is, but this is one of the old ones where you have to actually tune it in. You go, you got, it's like World War II stuff, but it's not digital, and it's not, it's tubes. And I have replacement tubes that I found on the internet about 10 years ago, and I bought them, and it's all up there at the camp, and I'm ready to. Oh man, it's powerful, man. It's like really powerful. I can't wait to do it.
Make sure
it's coming
That's
up.
when you got to make sure you got the antenna tuned in.
Right. Well, there's
your amplifier doesn't blow up when you're trying to.
Exactly. And the actual transmitter tunes up, and then I have an antenna tuner that also tunes up, and it's all about how much skill I have when I build the antenna, which I will, and I have that skill. It's easy.
Straight dipole, or you do an inverted V.
Inverted V. Yeah, good job. You know what you're talking about, man. Inverted V. That's what I'm going to do, and probably a banjo inverted V, which is several lengths of wire that whatever resonates, right? Whatever resonates, it will pick that wire that is the least resistance to the ohms. It's fun stuff.
It's cool stuff.
It is.
You might you might think like we were the original nerds before there was a computer. Right?
These people, you wouldn't imagine how many people want to get me, Jack, on video. Lots of them. They all come, and I'm like, no, man, I'm a radio guy. I'm a radio guy. I mean, if you want video, that's on you, man. I'm not looking for stardom or nothing like that. I'm a radio guy. I love radio, and I have since the early 1970s, man. It's what I do, and it's what I like.
Right. Well, if you look at it, if the folks tuned in think about it, right? You think about, okay, there's a TV show I like to watch, right? Everything mainly visual, but if you go and there's many venues where you can listen to old school pre-television radio classics, shows that were on, that was just something that you listened to.
Yeah,
it's so much more vibrant because your mind is involved. Your mind visualizes what you're hearing.
I remember one of the things that blew me away with radio. My initial draw was probably Pittsburgh Pirate games.
Oh, the announcer, right?
Yeah, the whole thing. Bob Prince was out there, and Roberto Clemente was playing, and I spent these years listening to these games. And then I finally heard Roberto Clemente speak. And I was kind of shocked. I was kind of hurt a little bit.
That's not the Roberto that I heard in my
He
own
could hardly,
mind, right?
he could hardly speak English, and it hurt
Right.
me, man, you know? But I went to bed so many times listening to those games, and it stuck with me. I don't know. I just love radio.
They painted a story with their voice, you know?
Yeah.
They talked describing a baseball game in color in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was all about your mind. You're exactly right, man. The whole thing was like that. And then, you know, the thing that I got into after that was CBS Radio Mystery Theater. You know, listening to drama on radio is so much better than watching it on television, man. I mean,
The Third Man, Orson
yeah.
Welles.
Oh my
you know?
goodness, man! Just so awesome, you know. All right,
And
let's
you can
get.
find that. Yeah, you can find that if you're tuned in and you're interested in it. Just look up Radio Classics.
Oh my goodness!
On the internet, and you will
Radio
find-
drama is like nothing else, man. You sit there and you're halfway getting ready to go to sleep, and do, you know, something comes up in the story. It's just so excellent.
There's a reason why the families huddled around a radio
Yeah.
in the 30s and 40s. I mean,
And like I said, I did it in the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's just something that it's different. You have to use your imagination. Like I know there's a lot of people out there, Jack, right now that are listening to us that have a visual of what I look like and what you look like and what Stacy looks like. Never seen us before. And a lot of times they see me and they're like, damn, man, I thought he was better than that.
You know, that's one of the most important parts about
Right.
listening.
Yeah.
Is you let every listener within their own brain visualize it if they
Exactly.
need to, right?
Exactly.
You know? And it's
You know,
amazing. You know,
it
it's an
is.
amazing
It is, and it's the one. It's the place I want to be, man. I mean, if we just hover around the amount of listeners that we have today, that's fine with me, man. I'm not trying to be. You know, some of these people are out there and they want to be stars. I don't want to be a star.
No.
I don't. I just want to. I want to talk to you guys. That's all I want to do. I don't want to be a star. The more of you guys there are, the better. But
As
I'm
folks
not.
wake up and say, "Wait a minute, you know, this doesn't seem right to me. Is there someplace else out there on these interwebs that think like me, or think that what's going on is wrong?" You know, and give us a chance. You know, I'm
That's
sure. It's
Hey,
not
something else.
100% of our listeners agree with what we say 100%, and
That's
that is,
fine.
to
That's
me,
cool.
that's not what we're looking for.
No, that's cool. That's there's no
We
problem.
want-
Call me.
We want diversity.
412 412-206-6208. If you disagree, that's fine. I'll deal with you, but I would ask you
I'll deal with
to
you.
please go to the go to Apple. You know, go to give us a like. You know, give us a 4-5 star
Yeah, or
on
share us and
iTunes.
say, hey, you know, we
the
got
likes are
some
down,
folks in
folks.
there.
The likes are down. It's like 10, 12 likes, but there's 7,000 comments. Come on now, guys. Throw
We're
some
still
likes on
hanging in there despite what the pressure is on the whole world with this COVID deal.
Karma's cool, though. Karma's cool. California's wildfires have burned. Now, remember what California preaches all the time, what California government preaches all the time with this climate change. California's wildfires have burned enough carbon to power roughly 23 coal plants for 1 year, estimates show. Now, I'm not going to really completely believe that, but dude, come on, man. The whole climate change bullshit is under attack right now. And
When
if you still
is
believe
the
it,
last year that we didn't have California burning? You know,
Right,
It's getting
exactly.
old at this point to me. Because
Have you
I
seen
think-
that meme? Have you seen that meme where they show California on a map and they show what's burning, and nothing is burning north of California into Canada, and nothing
talking about
is
the whole
burning
West Coast.
south of California in Mexico.
Mexico.
It's only California. Have you
Well,
noticed
the
that?
West Coast, right? Oregon.
Yeah,
California,
yeah.
But-
Same.
Yeah, I mean, every year for the past 5 years that I can say, I mean, it's probably more, but California is burning.
It's burning.
Wildfires out
It's
of
burning.
control.
Has
Blah,
nothing
blah,
to do
blah.
with climate change.
I'm like, right.
It's the environmentalists, wackos, of which my stepson is one. Give
the
me a
difference
break.
is this year you're including Oregon, which, you know, up until now, I always thought Oregon being a major, one of the major moneymakers for that state is the harvesting and planting of trees, right? For paper or building materials, whatever.
No,
Oregon-
hardwood, not paper, man. Hardwood.
Oregon was on top of it, but not this year, right? Boom, they're burning. Washington State, they probably do, you know, the same timber type thing because it goes up into Canada, but you don't. I remember Oregon being the big time producer of the hardwoods or whatever.
Yeah.
Cutting up. But now, like you said,
big lumber.
the
And now
entire
we're-
west
now-
coast of the United States is on fire.
And what are we?
But
where
it's
are we
climate
because of that? Where are we because of that? Canada is our major importer of structural wood. I mean, big wood. That sucks, man. That is completely anti-American. Because I talk to people that are out, you know, in Camp Vienna that are builders, and they're like, we have to get our, you know, the big wood. I'm talking about like the railroad tie size wood. You know, that should be coming out of Oregon and Washington, but we have to get it from Canada now because of the
old
political
hardwood
decisions
and all
out
that
there.
stuff, they're disappearing. That's why you see an abundance. I think it's up there in the Great Lakes region. You see a lot of it is harvesting of shipwrecked timber that's in the bottom of the Great Lakes. You're talking when
Right, that's where
150 years ago when they would harvest. I mean, you're talking the old type.
Let me tell the listeners the difference. For those of you that don't know it, I'm not saying that you don't, but just to make sure, there's two kinds of wood. There's hardwood and there's softwood. Softwood comes predominantly from the south, and it's pine. Anything evergreen, it's pine. That's softwood. That's plywood. That's plywood and OSB and particle board and stuff like that. Hardwood is your fruit wood and your oaks, your white oak and your ash and all kinds of different wood.
Walnut trees.
Yeah, walnut. Yeah, all those that are strong wood. Just saying, you know the lumber is made out of pine. 2x4s and all that shit's made out of pine.
The hardwoods,
but
even
beams,
the hardwoods
beams
are
are made out of oak and ash and really strong wood. That the beams that are in your floor are hardwood. The wood that's in your paneling and stuff is softwood.
And even the hardwood is not something. I mean, the softwood, they could sit there and strafe 10 acres of pine, harvest it for plywood or studs and all that stuff. But you can't do that with hardwood.
No,
the hardwood
and boards. Boards are even more when you start getting into boards, those are like poplar and, hardwoods.
Poplar's light, poplar.
But that's the best. That's the best wood for boards, because the trees are so thick and they grow so straight that when they cut them down, if they cut them down right, they can make really cool boards out of them. But anyway,
yeah. But tulip poplar, if you know where the tulip poplars are, you know how you can make yourself a quick fire starting.
Poplars,
bow drill fire with a poplar.
You're damn right. I mean, poplar, because they're big round trees and they grow straight. And when you cut them down, and I've done this, I mean, I have personal experience with it. They're very heavy, but after they dry out for a couple months, they're like paper.
Yeah,
I mean, you can take a poplar log that's 1.5 feet in diameter, a big poplar log, and hit it with a mattock, and it'll split right now if it sits there for a while. Now, you try to do that right after you cut it down, it's not going to happen. But you let it sit for a couple months, and it's like paper, man. You can almost light poplar kindling with a match. But anyway.
Well, that's what it's there, yeah. And a poplar, as it grows up, it sheds its lower limbs. And if you take those lower limbs, take the bark, grind, kind of rub it within your hands, it makes like a nesting material. That's your tinder. The wood itself, you make your hearth board and your spindle, and you can start fires with it. It's there for a purpose.
Man, you got all kinds of terms I never heard of, but that's cool.
No, but that's stuff that folks like you and I used to be was firsthand knowledge, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
We knew how to take care of ourselves.
Still know.
We didn't look for the government. So.
That's right. Still now. Now we're running out of time. It's 10 minutes to 11 here. I want to run a clip of how mean Joe Biden is. See, the media won't tell you what an asshole this guy is.
Come on, man.
He's a total asshole. Let's listen.
Donald Trump has been messing around in Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come up saying it's an investigation. We know all about that. And he's no backbone for that. But you, on the other hand, sent your son over there to get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience with gas or nothing, in order to get access to the public, to the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he is. So
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No one has heard that?
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on it, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take a nice Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not one.
No, his son's cool.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company.
He did.
Isn't that what you said? Get your work straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that in MSNBC. You did not hear that at all. What you heard? Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument, man. Well, yeah, you do, but look, fat. Look, here's the deal.
I'm going to hit you with my cane in a minute.
Look, fat.
Look.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Any other questions?
Yeah, all right. I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me.
I was really kind of taken aback. I was genuinely shocked.
Des Moines activist Ed Fallon says his brief conversation with Vice President Joe Biden happened Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Biden made a quick campaign stop at Urban Dreams in Des Moines. Fallon waited in line for a picture and wanted to confront Biden on his climate change proposals. Another member of Fallon's Bold Iowa group recorded the cell phone video.
I'm going to support you if you win the nomination because we got to get rid of Trump.
It started off fine, but Biden quickly became agitated when Fallon didn't agree to support him in the caucuses.
We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look, you're asking a picture of me, coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said
I said I would support you in the general.
In the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to
and
get
a
a number.
caucus.
We can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because
Now,
we're trying to get.
you believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Tom Steyer.
The first surprise is that Biden told Fallon to vote for someone else.
I did not expect to be told to leave, to go vote for somebody else, and then to be lectured about.
And then he presses on Fallon's chest, pokes him with a finger, and finally grabs his jacket with two hands.
It was not appropriate interaction for anybody. I mean, if I'd done that to him, the security would have been all over me.
Fallon is not asking for an apology from the Biden campaign, but he would take one. He's more concerned with finding the right candidate to fight climate change and beat President Trump.
You are actively trying to diminish your Second Amendment right and take away from it.
You're full of shit. Now, no, shush. Shush. I support the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. From the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
You were a veto when you said you're going to take our gun.
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out that are simply a lie.
Your own voice, you said that you're taking a gun.
Oh, he just clarified it. Wait. Take your AR-14s and what?
Okay, this is not okay.
Hold on. Hey, let's
Don't tell me this.
There's a lot of guys wanted.
I'm not worried.
Thanks so much.
Give me a break.
Don't be such a worry
You're pushing up on me.
Hey, there's a lot of
Hey. Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun?
I own a machine gun.
I said, are you able to own one? Under law.
Machine guns are illegal.
That's right. So AR-15's illegal.
How is that in a machine gun?
No, it's not.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
In America with handguns, and there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are buying the handguns?
No. You don't represent like this. No.
You don't know squat, Jack.
Anybody who can go down 300 to 3,000 feet in the mine, sure and hell can learn how to program as well. Give me a break. Anybody who can throw coal into a furnace can learn how to program, for God's sake. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Unbelievable, Jack. I mean, I got to tell you, I look at that statement, especially when he says, you know, if you can't throw coal in a fire, you can
Right.
program.
You need to code. I mean, that's as bad as, the hot sauce Hillary saying, I'm going to put the coal mining out of business.
It's sickening, man. It's absolutely.
And I ain't no waist high. What?
Andrea Widberg says on Thursday, President Trump announced an upcoming executive order intended to return patriotism to American education. Wasn't he brilliant? You know, they come out with this 1619 bullshit.
Right.
You know,
That's
where
been
they say
slithering under the radar, right?
New York Times, but he comes out and says we're going to call it the 1776 Commission. When I heard him say that, I stood up and applauded, Jack. I was like, he gets it. This dude is like so much, he's so far away superior to these media hacks that are on the enemy side, on the left, he's got them down. He called it the 1776 Commission, man. I mean,
right, which he should, right?
And it will counter the critical race theory training, or as he says, trainings that schools across America are embracing under the banner of the New York Times racist and divisive 1619 Project. Leftists responded.
Which agency in the government basically said we're going to do it? You know,
the CDC.
CDC.
We're the first. We're the first. Yeah. This agency that's purporting, that is pushing this lie about this fake pandemic. I can't wait till November 4th, man. I can't. If I have to go out there and I have to do whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. I can't wait for November 4th, man. I really can't. We have a war on our hands, Jack. We really do.
All right, you have active folks within our federal government that are not elected, that have taken power over those we elect, right?
And not even only in the government, but in the media. I mean, we have to think of this. We have to think of this. We have to understand all of the levels that are focused against us. And when I say us, I mean American patriots. And it's it has the potential to get uncomfortable, as I'm sure you understand. I mean, this is at a point where it's now or never, man. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It's
you
now
raise
or
a
never.
hand, take an oath against enemies, foreign and domestic. And if you haven't looked lately, you need to look up what the term domestic means, because that is the 50-meter target right now.
100%, man. 100%. I want you to listen to one more clip before we go. And this is a guest that we've had on the show several times, and I think we're going to get her again. But this is Kimberly Klacik. A conservative Republican woman who happens to be black, who is starting to really gain in the polls in the city of Baltimore against Kwame Mfuma. What is this asshole's name?
Kwame
Mfuma. Yeah, that guy.
Thought we were done with this.
His freaking parents named him like Joe fucking Robinson, but now he's Mfume Kwame. Anyway, listen to Kim Klacik. Not only listen to her, listen to Joy Behar attack her.
He wanted to publicly downplay the threat of the pandemic, even though he knew it was spread through the air and was going to be very deadly. Now, we see how the virus is disproportionately affecting the African-American community. Do you think continually downplaying the threat costs lives?
That's a great question. Thank you, Sarah. First of all, I think that, we didn't handle the pandemic as a country great as a whole. This is why I talk about bringing the biotech industry right back through the Baltimore City port. We allowed a lot of jobs and manufacturing to go overseas thanks to NAFTA and the Bill Clinton administration, and that's why he's pulling it back. Had we had that medical equipment industry here, we probably would have been more equipped to better handle the pandemic. Now, you're saying disproportionately affecting black lives. If you look at cities of Baltimore, you've got things called like a food desert. And this is where you're sitting there and they don't have grocery stores. They don't have what they need around them in their neighborhoods. And so, I believe a coronavirus pandemic would affect us more. I mean, look at my campaign ad. Look at the living conditions. That would affect us more. Absolutely. That's why I'm running for office.
Come on, Kim. Excuse me, I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very serious issue, and it's airborne, and that it was terrible. And then he went out and told the American people, don't wear masks, it's all going to go away. You have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry. You're putting it on something extraneous here. Talk to the point, please.
Is this Joy speaking?
The guy lied.
Same Joy? The same
Yes.
Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy. I don't think you should be
That's
asking
not
these
true.
questions. I am
Excuse
an
me.
African-American.
Excuse me. The black community had my back. They know that that was not
community has my
blackface. That
back.
was an
Karen.
homage. Oh,
The
please.
black
just
community
answer the
has my
question.
back
Black
as well.
community has your back? The black community has
Yes,
your back?
they do. Sonny,
the black community did
Sonny,
not
tell
vote
them.
for you.
Well,
the black
you know what?
community did not vote for you. What
It was
planet
during
are
a
you
special
living
election.
on?
Sonny, can I speak?
What
It was
planet are you living on?
It was during a special election while we were still under cannot talk to people. Can I speak, or are you just going to scream over
This
me?
becomes a big... Listen, Kim, good luck to you. Thanks to Kim Klacik.
That was very
We'll be right
immature,
back.
but
Bye.
thank you for having me.
They canceled her, man. I mean, didn't even
We
allow
had
her
the-
to
we
talk,
had
man.
the right Joy on the air tonight, right?
And we've had Kimberly Klacik on twice.
I mean, hey, she was right on point, and then all of a sudden, I mean, how funny
You
is
believe
it
that?
for Behar, a failed comedian,
And,
on
an
a-
ugly woman. Let's be
The
honest.
black people have my back.
Oh yeah, I mean, how sickening is all that? I mean, it's just it's amazing how bad Hollywood or whatever you want to call it, our media.
Kind of makes you want to go back to the era of radio where your mind gets to enjoy the show.
Well, we don't get to do that, but we will get to have a good time when we defeat these people, because it's the only way that we're going to be able to do anything. Jack, great show. I really, freaking an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
I thank you for letting me be a part. I mean, we had a great guest, Joy.
Hell yeah.
Again, out there on the campaign to help re-elect President Trump. The audience, wonderful. The callers, great. I do have to say that I can't remember the name, but I heard the kudos. The train engineer out in the West Coast. Boom!
Mr. Leslie, yeah, outstanding.
Thank you very much. Please, if you're out there, the best thing you can do to help President Trump, share the show. Share us. Share America. Share this independence movement. Be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Doing a great job, as usual. I mean, the whole team, ladies and gentlemen. Look at our team, man. My goodness. Ward, Mona, Sal, Jack, Stacy. I mean, we are kicking ass.
And the audience.
And the VFW. Thanks, everybody, for letting us into your life for a couple hours. We will be back. I think I'm going to be up at Camp Vienna. I think the next show is going to be from Camp Vienna. We'll see. God bless everybody. Go to rspn.bandcamp.com. Check out Jacob Seals. You know what? I donated $50 to Joe Seals last night for his RSBN coverage of the Trump events. We got to bury our problems and start joining together to save this damn country. I love you, everybody. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. We'll be back Monday. Good night.
Thank you. and the twilight lies gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave? Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight to rename the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. This land of the brave, the US of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the
Thank you. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.